Damn.
Wow. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
That's certainly a thing to say before we go live on the show here. It's a good thing you're no longer running for office so that nobody can hear that comment.
Oh, yeah.
Thousands
Holy shit.
Keeping everything kosher here.
Just hard R, just went right into it. Didn't even like hesitate or nothing. It's just like, anyway, start the show.
Yep.
Y'all are infidels. We're burning witches tonight. Not even Smoking the Bear is going to be able to save your ancestors this time, you stupid moron.
Someone in the comments picked him with a band-aid. That was good. I'm sorry, that was fucking good. Anyways.
Well, that's my job as a woman, I think, first and foremost. And then as a writer, I got to maintain some level of like, making sure that you're in a good place.
Everything that they've done since claiming the PS5 is for hardcore gamers. It's just simply appeal to the casuals.
That's about it. Follow me on Twitter. Preserve film, just like preserving video games. I don't know.
Hunter! What's up? In the White House? Seriously?
Well, Marvel and what Stan Lee, I think, I don't know if it was genius or laziness. It's like, we'll just put them all in one city. We won't even make up a fictionless and we'll just use New York.
Beer of the night, what you got coming up for tomorrow?
I'm perfectly sober.
Lies.
Thank you.
Are you home? Do you have children? Must not you be their hope? Are there future generations from all of us who have failed them?
And the mom shaming, a term typically used to highlight harsh judgment of birthing people.
Fuck these stupid fucking
Who wrote this shit? Who wrote this shit?
Road.
Y'all are infidels. How you doing? It's episode 75 of the Barroom Podcast. We are joined once again by our colorful group of characters here. I don't know if you guys realized Halloween was a few weeks ago. Some of you guys look a little more properly dressed here for this show than I would normally expect, but I guess we'll get to you guys here in a second. We'll start off our good buddy Orange Hat. How you doing today, Orange?
Doing well.
Mm-hmm. Also joining us tonight, getting ready to rock you like a hurricane, is Cole Classic Cage. How you doing today, Cassie?
Chilling, man. Happy to be here as always. It's always interesting to be on a Barroom podcast. So.
Definitely.
Looking like he's an extra from Home Improvement here tonight is our good buddy Cider Hype. How you doing today, Cider?
I'm great. I'm glad Cassie brought her hair.
Mm-hmm.
I grabbed it off the top shelf.
Yep, like the Lego hair.
And joining us surprisingly on time once again, but he's currently on the crapper, so he'll be back here in a couple of minutes. So Rick is here. He saw his face earlier, so legally he is in fact here. So how you guys doing here tonight? It's gonna be quite the show tonight because there's a lot of topics that we need to dive into and a lot of topics that might go completely off the rails here tonight based on some things that we say here. So I just want to say that all of the things that are spoken here on the Barroom Podcast do not reflect the guests who are on the Barroom Podcast unless it came directly for them. Then it totally reflects what they feel and what they've said. So there's our disclaimer for the day. Who we have in the chat here tonight? We got our good buddy Spencer here, probably editing some articles with Bounty and the Comics and hurry the hell up. Yeah, that's what happens when you show up an hour early to the chat. The show's at 9, not at 8. So there you go. Good buddy Neozoic says, "Howdy, barroom crew and the good folks in the chat. Fun question: which spy thriller film would you rather watch after Hitchcock's North by Northwest or Doug Liman's The Bourne Identity?" Hitchcock, without question. I'm going Hitchcock.
Hitchcock.
Guys, but...
Hitchcock, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. That kind of seemed like a no-brainer of a question there.
I don't know. The Bourne Identity.
What? How is this even comparable?
Well, I just want to say, like, there isn't the Bourne Identity where that lady gets shot on the bridge.
No, that's Bourne Supremacy.
Oh, what was Bourne Identity?
Bourne Identity was when he met the lady that got shot on the bridge.
Yeah, that's the first one.
They were going around in the Mini, right? They were doing all the crazy stunts in the Mini. Yeah, no, fuck Hitchcock. What, did you see like Mini stunts?
You're lucky you're in Maine. I think
shit.
Orange, you just completed a retrospective, didn't you? On the Bourne Identity, on the Bourne series, or are you still working through it?
I got Jason Bourne left to go through next week.
Okay.
But
I guess you're not.
Or I just did Ultimatum today.
I guess you're not counting the mini series.
No, I'm not talking Treadstone or Legacy.
Okay, but no, North by Northwest. That's a great. I mean, it's not just a spy thriller. It's also almost a romance. You know, you've got romantic element, and you have a brilliant ending, which had to be explained to me because I didn't get it. It's like, why is everyone gasping that the train goes into the tunnel? I don't get it.
It is what it is.
Yep.
Neil has a bonus question for us. New versus old. Which anthology TV series would you rather watch? The Twilight Zone or Black Mirror? I gotta be honest with you. I'm gonna be pretty straightforward with you guys. I've not seen a single episode of Black Mirror.
I haven't
seen a single episode of Twilight Zone or Black Mirror, so I can't answer that question.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single episode of Black Mirror, so I can't really compare it. Though some of the Twilight Zone episodes are a little heavy-handed.
Mm-hmm. Well, how about this? Since Cider is the only one who's actually seen Black Mirror, I'll give him an opportunity to explain Black Mirror to the normie crowd here in 30 seconds or less. Go.
Black Mirror is Twilight Zone done right.
You took full advantage of that of less emphasis on there too. So there you go.
What did Twilight Zone do wrong? Pray tell.
Jordan Peele.
Wait, we're talking about new Twilight. Okay, no, there is no other Twilight Zone that exists to me other than the original series, because as much as I would like to watch the movies, I can't ignore the reality that an actor and 2 young children died on set. So I have never touched that. But other than that, the only thing that exists to me is the original Rod Serling Twilight Zone. Thank you very much.
Is that what that's what I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about Jordan Peele or any updates for the Twilight.
Old versus new.
Old. Oh, when I took old Twilight Zone, like Rod Serling Twilight Zone with William Shatner going on about there is something on the wing, then I was about.
Oh, Black Mirror was like a thing in the 90s in England, and then it got like redone, right? That's the way I understood it. So it was a new thing as well. So that's what I was going with.
Really?
New Twilight Zone, new Black Mirror. That's what I was doing.
Oh no, I was thinking old Twilight Zone or new Black Mirror. That's how I understood the question.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're all
okay. So now that scene in Ace Ventura totally makes sense now.
Which one?
You bet.
Anyway, Vanya is joining us here on our stream here tonight. Shout out to Vanya. We have Duke Nukem also joining us here as well. You're going to see some of our other guys in the chat with a Top Dog joining us for this episode of the Barroom Podcast. He even has a question. Who do you guys think are the hottest women in Hollywood right now? If I had to pick one who doesn't completely annoy the crap out of me, I would have to go with Sydney Sweeney. She seems to be the one pick that I would make right now. So I don't know if you guys have anything you want to throw in there.
Cannibal pedophiles aren't my thing.
What's her name from Mimic and Sound of Freedom?
Mira Sorvino?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Well, she was barely in Sound of Freedom.
She was not.
Yet she was still in it.
Yeah. So it was almost like a cameo. I can't really think of any woman right now. I mean, maybe ScarJo. She seems to be one that I revert to.
Maybe like 10, 15 years ago, but
yes, but it's not. It's
Cassie's
not like
stunt double from Top Gun Maverick. What's her name?
That's funny. Yeah. Phoenix from Top Gun Maverick.
You do look like her, man. When she puts that mask on, you do look like her.
Yeah, you need to get some aviator shades.
I never looked to get an aviator, sadly. Otherwise, I would wear them.
You've got the jacket already. You might as well just go all in.
Well,
They just don't fit my face properly, so.
Get the Air Force
She needs
helmet.
tinier aviators, like lady-sized aviators.
DK saying that he was going with the Twilight Zone over Black Mirror there. So there's a shout out to DK. Doba Fett is also here. We have Alex vs. Evil joining us here tonight. Yeah, Barroom hit 75 episodes. We've done 75 episodes of this show already. So I still remember how cringe we all look on the very episode 0, which is the unofficial beginning of this whole show. So technically we've done 76. So but don't let it make count.
I look so cringe I wasn't even there.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I believe the episode 0, you want to talk about a throwback, episode 0 was literally me, Cassie, TW, Josh.
No, I wasn't on episode 0.
Are you sure?
I was on episode 1.
Oh no, you're right, because Trap Queen was on episode 0,
Yeah.
and then Josh, who I don't think has appeared since like episode 3, was also a part of that one as well. So who else do we got coming on here tonight? Rob is working. Yeah, Rob is making the big money bucks at his job right now. If anyone who has followed the saga of Rob, we can't complain too much that he finally has money in his pocket and he's doing better in life. So
yeah, he's living the Biden boom.
Mm-hmm. He's literally the only person whose life has gotten better with Joe Biden as president.
Wait a minute.
Shout out to Rob. He said North by Northwest. Tactics Jones here saying great movie. Bonus question for TZ. Yeah, so I agree with that one. Born Identity was pretty damn good, but From Russia with Love over North by Northwest. Fair enough. It says that North by Northwest does have an amazing final shot. I would agree with that. Who else?
Which had to be explained to me.
Not even a Shatner episode. Apparently, he hasn't seen any of them, so it is what it is. It said Richard Donner directed the Shatner episode of Twilight Zone. So
oh wow, I did not know that.
Apparently, Spencer is a mark for America's Funniest Home Videos. We had an interesting conversation about this a few weeks back when somebody brought up Bob Saget about being America's Funniest Home Videos. There was that time period where everyone knew Bob Saget from like Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos. And then like 10 years later, everyone saw his stand-up special, and apparently they didn't know that was the type of comedy that he was doing like at the time. So it was like a massive like culture shock for people who only knew him as like quirky, family-friendly guy at that time period. So,
yeah. And then Bob Saget is evil started becoming a meme, and then he died, and everyone was like, Bob Saget's burning in hell right now. It's like,
yeah, exactly right. And it's like, well, we want to talk about how exactly he died, because that's also bad apparently. So there's that too.
Well, personally, I prefer Tales from the Dark Side over the 80s Twilight Zone.
Fair enough. It depends on what you're into. It still counts. Black Mirror is like Twilight Zone with an emphasis on technology taking over our lives. Yeah, it's almost as if it's like predictive programming, right? Right?
Yep.
It's almost as if they're trying to tell us something. DK says Ana de Armas is nice to look at in movies. There's the thing with Ana de Armas. She is like incredibly attractive. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like she's not, but just the thought of the reality that she's just been incredibly ran through in Hollywood makes her less hot to me. Yeah, like there's a few people I could look at and be like, okay, they're not quite there yet. Given like 10 years, and that won't be the case anymore. But yeah, I just. Yeah, it's put it that way. Spencer says that she covers up most of her face to look exactly like her. Yep. Drax the Clown joining us here tonight. Spencer, you were probably in the chat on episode 0, but you definitely were not a cast member on episode 0. I know that for a fact.
He's rarely a cast member. I mean,
even though he has the link, he won't ever show up. So I mean, that's your problem. Jackson Scott said Bob and How I Met Your Mother. I don't even watch that show, so I have no idea what that's a reference to. Don't Let Him Burn here says Outer Limits. So shout out to Outer Limits. Says Outer Limits are Twilight Zone. I still go with Twilight Zone. That's just me personally.
I haven't seen any of them. So.
Outer Limits is pretty good.
No,
that, yeah.
No love for Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Okay.
Nope.
I mean, Hitchcock, I just haven't seen all the shit yet. So
weird fat guy silhouette thing's just out of style now. That's all. It'll come back. Don't worry.
Homer Simpson killed it.
Yeah, soon everyone's gonna be fat, so it's just gonna become the norm.
Right, Alfred Hitchcock's thing, that was kind of like comical and whimsical because he was fat, and that was funny because barely anybody was fat back then. But now it's like, who is this TikToker on my screen now? Why is he so old? What is this?
And he got to remember too, like Hitchcock was like 50s fat too. Like, if you compare him today, he probably like a normal person.
There were fat people back then. Come on, Burl Ives. Was fat.
Well, of course, there were fat people, yes, but it wasn't like an epidemic.
All right, so if you look at a picture of individuals at the beach back in the 50s, maybe if you're lucky, you could spot one fat person. You take a picture in 2023 at the beach, everyone's fucking obese.
Well, you can't see the beach because all the fat people are blocking any view of the ocean and sand.
There weren't a lot of heavy set people when Frankie and Annette were making those speech movies. We'll put it that way.
Right.
Put it this way. Yeah. Back in the 50s, you had a freaking Ahab looking for his white whale on the beach. Nowadays, Ahab had a fucking seizure because he saw too many white whales on the beach.
Yeah. And Spencer here is, I guess he's under the impression that his appearances in the chat count as appearances on the show. No, we actually include appearances on the show, which means that as of right now, if you strike the record, Josh, in fact, has more appearances than you on the Barroom podcast.
Oh,
Now, if you exclude the times he was sober, then now we're having like a debate on who made it.
Exactly. Count his sober shows, and then we have a debate. I guess
who was the one that didn't show up sober? Spencer or Josh?
Me.
No, exactly. That's the right answer. Real quick before, I guess I can go ahead and just announce this real quick. But when we were before we went live here, we were talking about this women's basketball game, about this college called Hendrix College, who I wasn't even sure was a real school. Like 5 minutes ago, they're currently playing Arkansas State, and up until the last few minutes, they were losing 82-10 in the fourth quarter, and they were literally 1 point away from setting the record for the lowest amount of points scored in an NCAA game. Well, some small little 5'6" girl just hit a 3-pointer, so they scored 13 points, which means that they will not be setting the record for fewest points scored in a game in history tonight. So unfortunately, that's not going to happen. But they are still losing 82-13 right now. So
that's one hell of a Chili's waitress.
What you're saying is they will never be known for anything.
No,
would be worse.
I mean,
they won't even be known for being so bad. Like, they're not even historically bad.
You got to give the Marvels that, right? They went down in the record books for being the worst of the worst of the worst, right? So at least they're known for something.
Thing to go before
These
they
chicks are just going to go home as losers.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Tennessee State, you guys can pop the champagne because your record still stands for 11 points in a 40-minute basketball game. So there you go. And with that said, let's go ahead and start off hot here, because we were supposed to start off talking about the Keke Palmer story that we didn't go over last week because we just ran out of time and no one wanted to talk about it. So we're going to talk about it this week. And then a bigger story broke out, so I just decided to scrap the story altogether. So until
Keke Palmer.
Yeah, until Keke Palmer does something
apparently
incredibly stupid, which will probably be another week or so. We won't be talking about her yet, but we're talking about this whole story because there's a lot of layers to this story here. Melissa Barbera, who is the new lead for the Scream franchise, or I should say was the new lead for the Scream franchise, has now been fired from the Scream movies based on social media posts that she posted over the last several days. All of them are very pro-Palestine and anti-Israel, and as a result of this, she has now been accused of anti-Semitism by Hollywood. She has been fired from Scream 7, which I believe is supposed to go into production somewhere in the near future. She is the star of this whole franchise, and now she is gone. So there's a lot lot to unpack here with this story, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to unpack as much as I can here. Melissa Barrera, I should say. I think I pronounced it wrong the first time. Barrera. I don't know. She's Mexican. I don't do names.
Barrera.
Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah, she's been officially fired from Scream 7 after posts amongst the Israel Hamas situation. So if you guys have been under a rock over the last couple of months here, I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this, but apparently Israel and Palestine are beefing again, and it's making big news all over the world. There was a big attack on October the 7th, I should say, where Hamas invaded Israel, and they ended up attacking a bunch of people. They killed about 1,200 people in that attack. So as a result of that, Israel has basically been on the offensive ever since. They've been going after the Gaza Strip, where Hamas is located, bombing a whole bunch of buildings, killing a whole bunch of people. I think about 13,000 people have died in the result of those attacks over the last few weeks. So, of course, because everyone needs to have an opinion on social media about these issues, every single actress and actor in Hollywood has been calling for either a ceasefire, telling Israel to stop, or they've been supporting Palestine. And we've talked about this last week with Gal Gadot. There are a few actresses and actors out there who are supporting Israel, but of course, they happen to be ones who are directly from Israel. The lead actress here for this Scream franchise has been fired based on some of the things that she said over the last couple days on her Instagram stories that have been perceived by the industry as anti-Semitic. So a couple of things that she listed on here. One post, which I think they'll play right here, it says that I come from a colonized country myself, being Mexican, and Palestine will be free. So obviously she's all in on the free Palestine situation here. She had this post here, like right before she was fired, saying at the end of the day, I'd rather be excluded for who I include, rather than be included for who I exclude. But that those two posts wasn't the ones that got her in danger. This was the one that essentially got her into big trouble here. She wrote a post saying that Gaza is currently being treated like a concentration camp, cornering everyone together with nowhere to go, no electricity, no water. People have learned nothing from our history, and just like our histories, people are silently watching it all happen. This is genocide and ethnic cleansing. And then she even went as far to say that she has been searching for pro-Palestinian news on social media for days and has found nothing, because the media happens to be on their side, they're being the Israeli side, which obviously people took it as she was saying, oh, the Jews control the media, which is something that you're not allowed to say. And as a result of this, she has now officially been fired from the Scream franchise. Now look, if you guys have followed my reviews and my feelings in the Scream franchise, especially over the last couple of years, you know that I absolutely hate these movies. They're dumb, woke movies that really don't need to exist. They essentially waited for Wes Craven to die, and then once he died, there's like, okay, we're going to reboot the Scream movies, but we're going to rebuild it for modern audiences. So what they did with this character here is that they essentially said that, hey, remember Billy Loomis from the first Scream movie? Yeah, well, he has a Hispanic daughter who somehow no one knew about when he was dating Sydney in the first movie, even though he died in the first movie. But yeah, he had a daughter, and now she's like a crazy psychotic serial killer, but she's the good guy because she's Latina, and we can't have Latinas be the bad guy in this universe. So she's in this film. Jenna Ortega, who I'll bring up here in just a second, is also in this film, and a whole bunch of other people. The movies, I guess, have been a moderate success considering how much they spent to make these movies. They haven't been that expensive. Something were like $20 to $40 million, and they've both made about 130 to like 170 like each. So they figured that it's successful enough for them to just keep this thing going as a result of all this. But there's been a lot of people over the last a few hours, honestly, who have gotten in trouble for saying things that are against Palestine, not against Palestine, against Israel. Susan Sarandon just got dropped from her agency for comments that she made regarding the Palestine-Israel conflict. She said something along the lines of, now Jews know what it feels like to be a Muslim in a Western country, or something like that. So because she made that comment in the U.S., Western country, USA thing, I guess. But yeah, because she made, we are the only Western country. But because she made that post, she's been fired from her agency as well. So anyone who is essentially saying anything against Israel at this moment is finding themselves in a very bad spot here with the Hollywood cabal, I guess you can call them now. I mean, I'm not sure if you're allowed to call them that anymore. Who knows? But a couple people have spoken out about this. The director of Scream 7, Christopher Landon, has come out and says that, everything sucks. Stop yelling. This was not my decision, saying that he's very unhappy with the fact that Melissa was in fact fired from this. However, the studio has come out and made a statement here, and I want to make sure I get the studio's statement. They just put it out here not too long ago. What was their reaction here? It was basically something around the lines of they denounced anti-Semitism, which is why they fired her in the first place. So they're officially on the bandwagon that she's not going to be allowed back into the franchise at all. I don't think she's officially made a statement regarding her firing, but this is pretty much the line in the sand that they're drawing at the moment. Now, a lot of people, because I mentioned Jenna Ortega earlier, a lot of people are now calling on Jenna Ortega to quit Scream 7 as a result of this, wanting her to side with Melissa. Keep in mind, Jenna Ortega has also made social media posts supporting Palestine. Now, she has not gone as far as Melissa has, as calling out the media and who controls the media yet, which is the reason why she hasn't been fired at the moment. But there are people who are pointing out that, hey, at the moment, give it time, but the people are saying that, hey, you're going to fire her for supporting Palestine. Your other star, who pretty much all you have left now in this franchise, also supports Palestine, so you guys are going to fire her as well. It's a mess with this whole Scream thing. Like I said, they were terrible movies to begin with. None of these movies have been any good. Last year, they lowballed Neve Campbell out of the 6th Scream movie, so she wasn't even in the 6th movie. The only original character they have left is Courtney Cox, and she looks like a mummy at this point, because she has so much plastic surgery done to her face. So I don't know where you.
Neve Campbell.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think now they're probably going to make a phone call, be like, hey, I know we lowballed you like literally a year ago, but hey, can we bring you back now? Because we fired that other Latina lady because she was saying things about, the Jews.
How do you feel about Palestine?
That's big.
It's like, we call her
so we got Scream 7 coming up. Yeah, and how do you feel about Palestine?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. It's like, oh, here's all I click. So that's pretty much the best answer you give. So yeah, this whole thing is a mess.
Nev would be smart to say it depends on how much you pay me. But my opinion is,
hell yeah.
I think if someone will give me my original rate, then maybe I could be super into Israel at this point in time.
Right?
So. Yeah.
You might pay me to get a tattoo if you want.
Yep, you have the Star of David on if you want to, but yeah. So this is kind of where we're at here with this whole story. She's fired. She's no longer a part, and this is kind of like a big thing with Hollywood, and this is their own fault. I'm just going to put it to you, this is their own fault, because Hollywood is a system and an industry that exclusively hires woke idiots, right? Like they go out of their way to get, like, we don't want anyone who has any kind of right-wing views whatsoever. If you support like Trump, you support Ted Cruz, or anyone who's like a right of like Che Guevara, then we can't have you in our industry anymore because you're a threat. So they only exclusively hire woke idiots.
Hold on.
to be.
I gotta tell you, Jacob, I'm sorry. I am a stage actor. I know it's not film acting, but and I'm an award-winning stage actor. But the thing I could tell you is that the majority of actors in any level are lib shitards, as the Argentinian president puts it. They're lib shitards. That's just part and parcel for playing pretend for money. You end up becoming so amorphous in your thinking that like everything's cool. That's fine. Why don't you want to put things in your butt? That's your problem. You don't want to eat the bug powder? What's wrong with you? You get into the way of thinking of like, okay, so I want to promote this, so I will shape my entire mental structure around it. And that's what happens to these guys. That's why you end up with like Vince Vaughn and other actors, conservative actors that end up get kicked out of Hollywood, not because they suck, but because they just don't have the politics to be able to get along at parties. And these people, as we know, do not tolerate dissent. We've seen that today with all the firings that went on, even though these are people that have had their back since they arrived in Tinseltown.
Yep. But here's the problem that they built for themselves is that because they exclusively essentially cater to these left-wing idiots, is that you have the majority of these left-wing idiots happen to be very, very anti-Israel, right? So
And dumb.
because because they're looking at it from the window dressing of, well, we've been told for the last several years is that white people are bad no matter what the situation is. So because Israel are the white people and Palestine are the brown people, we need to sign with the brown people over the white people. So we don't like Israel, right? Not understanding that the majority of the producers, directors, studio executives, and all the people running the show in Hollywood are Jewish, who are very, very pro-Israel. So when they come out against the nation of Israel, that pretty much affects their job. And now they're one-on-one, they're all being fired, right? So this is the industry that for the last few years, I think even DK said it here, this is why you don't mix business with politics. Well, these people have gone out of their way to be like, no, we have to have a voice to speak out about things that are here in the United States. They have no problem doing that. But when you speak out about things in certain nations, then all of a sudden you've drawn the line. Now it's shut up and act, right? That's essentially what you're saying here. So this is the environment that you guys created. So don't get mad that you placed a couple of puppets on the stage. Now you can't control your puppets anymore. So this is kind of a you problem from my perspective. But Orange, I'll give you out to you. What is your thoughts on essentially Paramount firing the lead actress because she doesn't support Israel?
They got themselves into such a fucking tizzy. They've lost their minds so badly. And it does stem back to 2016, President Trump's election. They have lost their minds so goddamn much that they have had to do everything or anything and everything just to frickin' stick it to the orange man. And they didn't realize that there was a line that you don't cross. They have gotten so crazy that they accidentally erased that line and they crossed it 2 years ago. I mean, when they supported a lot of different heinous stuff, cities burning, supporting people who did very terrible things to women, BLM and whatnot. And yet, now this thing coming up with the whole Israel-Palestine, then they're like, well, we need to have a voice too. It's like, we already know that there are innocents in war. The unfortunate truth to any war is that there's going to be a loss of innocent lives. And unfortunately, the Palestinian government tends to side with terrorism. So, yeah, when you're saying we need to eradicate people, we need to slaughter people, we need to start busting out the needles to put numbers back on arms and shit. Yeah, I've actually heard that on Twitter. That account doesn't exist anymore. Holy crap. Yeah, that's when they're starting to realize maybe we went too far. No shit, Sherlock. Well, that's actually an insult to Sherlock at this point because, well, yeah. But they have driven themselves so insane with just hating one person 7 years ago that they are going to do everything and anything to make themselves, just more hated by the general people, you and me and whatnot. And the brain dead followers of them, and yes, I call them brain dead because, well, they are retarded. They're held back and hindered by their death or the death of their brainwaves. Yeah, they're going to follow them because, we worship at the altar of Hollywood. You shouldn't, because honestly, these people are nuts and they hate you. So yes, good on firing her. It's not cancel culture, as somebody in the chat said. I think it was Dobofet. It's accountability. And it needs to be more, or it needs to be heavier throughout Hollywood.
Well, there's a couple of things to this. Let me first answer with Kate said, because Kate nailed this whole thing perfectly on the head here. It's like, in their minds, this is white colonizers oppressing brown people. They're not even looking at this from a religious standpoint because, like I said, a lot of these guys hate religion, they hate Christianity. They don't have any real side to it from a religious standpoint. So they're just looking at this from brown people versus white people. They're not even looking at it from, Islam versus Judaism or any kind of Christianity angle to this whole story. And then this is the statement here here that Spyglass, which is the studio behind the Scream films, made. They put out a release that says that we have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism and the incitement of hate of any form, including false references to genocide, ethnic cleansing, Holocaust distortion, or anything that is flagrantly crosses the line into hate speech. So now they're accusing her of Holocaust denial and hate speech based on what she said here previously. So this is where we're going. And something that you said here on chat, this is the fundamental problem here, because what numerous sources have said at this now, that the reason why that she got fired was because she made the emphasis in one of her posts that, oh, the Jews control like the media, the Jews control Hollywood, something along those lines, right? Here's the problem, is that you're going to get mad at her and fire her for daring to say publicly that the Jews have a massive control over the entertainment industry. At the same time, the only reason why she is being fired from the movie is because the majority of the people in power in her industry are Jewish, and they found her comments to be offensive. So you can't sit there and say, well, it's anti-Semitic to say that the Jews control entertainment and then fire her based on what she's saying because you guys are Jewish. You can't have it both ways. And this is why a lot of people end up trying to, I mean, they can. I mean, technically they can. Yeah, but this is what we're saying here. It's like you want to play both sides of the fence on this whole thing, and when you do stuff like this is what makes people dislike you even more, because now you're just being disingenuous about the whole thing. This is essentially where we are here in the first place. Like, you're not making yourself any allies here. You've only going to make yourself more enemies by doing stuff like this in the first place. So, Cassie, what's kind of your thoughts on this whole story?
Well, I just see authoritarians cannibalizing each other. That's just what it is. They supported the system of authoritarianism, and now it's coming down on the smaller people in Hollywood. Hollywood is extremely authoritarian. I support, being able to say what you want. I want to know how ridiculous and how retarded people are, especially on social media. Please put that out there for me to know. My general sentiments on this whole situation is, like, when it comes to at least, situation between Israel and Palestine, I think both sides are wrong. I mean, I'm sorry. I am completely fundamentally against war. I am against terrorism fundamentally on every way. I can't sit here and support either side. I don't blame a Muslim for supporting Palestine. I don't blame a Jew for supporting Israel. Like, this is stuff that you just expect in the grand scheme of things, but everyone else just throwing their hat into it when it's like, bro, this isn't your fight. It just, I just feel as though America, we constantly put our fucking foot in everything. And I understand that it's complicated. This has been made complicated. And guess what? America's a big part of why it's complicated too. And I'm not going to sit here and act like anybody's right. Everyone's fucking wrong. Like, we're controlled by a bunch of evil motherfuckers. That's just what it boils down to. Not just America, worldwide. That is the sad situation that we're in. So for me to sit here and take a side, I refuse to. It's my fundamental right to not.
Yeah, keep in mind, this actress is originally from Mexico. That's why she was making the comment earlier that she was from a colonized country. So apparently in her mind, Mexico is a colonized country, and that's why she sympathizes with Palestine. I don't know how you make the connection between Mexico and Palestine and think that we're all on the same side.
Everyone has to be a fucking victim. I don't give a fuck if you're from Mexico. Guess what? My peeps was Puerto Rican, and we got here without having to get permission. So I don't give a fuck about you being Mexican. I don't care about anybody, damn it. I'm tired of motherfuckers pretending to care about everything when it's really for their own self-gain. At least be fucking honest. You want to be a victim in this scenario, and you tried to weaponize it, and you got shit kicked out of you, and now you have no job. Congratulations. Welcome to unemployment, bitch. I'm sorry. I don't care.
Hold on, I'm gonna get on the phone with Ice real quick. Line's busy.
I mean, here's the thing: if they really want to go this fucking colonizer route, and colonizers are so fucking evil and all this shit, didn't life start in Africa according to these motherfuckers? Didn't it?
To them,
so then every fucking country continent aside from Africa has been colonized by Africans. Shut the fuck up.
Yo, that's wild.
Hey, you want to talk about the transatlantic slave trade and who started that whole thing? Because we can go deep into it if you want to.
Baby. Can we all say the N-word now since we're all African?
Yeah,
cut the feed.
I don't have a "we'll be right back" button. The best I can do is this. So,
yeah, right.
Stop it, guys.
Fasten your seatbelts. White people came from space, so can't.
Yeah,
ultimate colonizers.
Unless you're Mormon, then you probably think black people are cursed or something like that. I don't know. That's something.
I found out 2 months ago. My father was a Mormon deacon. I had no idea. He never said anything about it. My brothers and sisters, my mother, his first wife, nobody had any idea. It was a deacon in the Mormon church. That's what I decided. Yep, white people came from space. That'll be the joke I make from now on.
The final frontier.
Yeah, so I mean, this whole thing is a mess. Like I said, this is what happens when you in Orange put it perfectly here. It's like you talk about accountability. Well, it's like it's this industry. Like you guys allowed these people to go completely wild when the subject was Trump.
Yep.
You guys rooted and cheered it on. When the subject was Republicans, you rooted and cheered it on. If it was the NRA, if it was Black Lives Matter, if it was the LGBTQ, if it was all of these other issues, you guys had no problem with these people being as left and as woke as you possibly could be. But now all of a sudden it's coming back to Israel, and now people have to lose their jobs because apparently that's the one line you're not allowed to cross and it comes to modern day Hollywood, right? And look, I'll look at it from a different perspective because obviously I come at this from a more Christian angle to it. So you ask me, who do I support in this whole thing? Here's what I tell you. The reason why we're seeing what we're seeing right now is because both sides, which means both the Jews and the Muslims, have rejected the gospel of Jesus Christ. They both reject Jesus Christ and everything that he taught. So what do they fundamentally reject? They reject the idea of loving your neighbors as yourself. They don't believe that. So what happened is that the course of the last 2,000, more than 2,000 years, we're being completely honest with ourselves here, but for the last thousands of years, these people have been trying to kill each other and wipe each other off the map unsuccessfully, and it's going to continue to happen until people wake up and realize that you're on the wrong team. So it doesn't matter if you're pro-Hamas, it doesn't matter if you're a pro-Zionist right now, you're all going to find out your lessons the hard way because you guys rejected a very, very simple gift that you guys could have received 2,000 years ago, and here we are. So there you go. Rick, do you have anything you want to add to this story here before we move on?
I can't because Bank of America just called wanting more money from me, so I got distracted with that.
I thought you said Bank of America was going to cut off your bank account if you said something about Israel.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, wow.
They called and said, if you say anything.
Yeah.
No,
like, oh,
no.
Chase just said they closed my account. I don't even have an account with Chase. So.
No, well, I'm sorry. I had to step away for a moment. All I can really say is, from what I understand, the company made a decision that they figured that this person was, I don't want to say toxic, but maybe too controversial for something that was being said. Private company, I think, has the right to fire whomever they wish. And if people object to that for the reasons, they have a right to also speak out. Just be careful. Remember that old saying, think before you post.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all you got. And unfortunately, that has not been the lesson for Hollywood for many, many years. So one last thing I will say on this whole topic, like I said, there are a group of people growing on social media right now that are calling on Jenna Ortega to essentially walk away from the project now to show solidarity with her co-star and show solidarity with Palestine. Let me let you guys in on a little secret right now. Jenna Ortega is absolutely no stranger to throwing her co-stars under the bus, as we have proven with the Ronnie Hawk story that we've covered a few times here on this podcast. So if you're assuming that Wednesday is coming in to save you guys and hopefully save the Scream franchise, if you're holding your breath, you're gonna suffocate. That's all we're gonna say there.
Maybe this is a way to just end the franchise altogether. It would just be.
I think that'd be a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, people really
for the record,
war to do it, but hey.
Yeah. For the record, Scream 6, I believe, is still in my top 10 worst movies of the year. Okay, it's currently number 7 on my top 10 rankings this year. So none of these movies are any good anyway. So people are only watching them because they're pandering to the woke crowd to begin with. And now you guys have gotten so woke that your whole film franchise just completely threw up on itself and died. So
maybe that's the perfect way. This is a perfect excuse to shut down the franchise. Maybe in the same way that the failure of Marvels is a way to shut down that, but I don't know if that will happen. But I don't know. So something for another day.
Put it to you this way, to make like a pro wrestling reference to you guys. If this whole thing was like WWE right now, Melissa would be Roman Reigns and Jenna Ortega would be Seth Rollins with the chair. And so you guys could pretty much make your own reference to them being there. Yep. That is good. And leftists eating their own ain't nothing better. Yep, that's pretty much where we're at right now. So that's like I said. If you want to keep your job in Hollywood, you've played the game this far. So yeah, just don't say anything about Israel, or you just won't have a job there anymore. And I don't know, maybe Melissa. Well, nah, that wouldn't work. Definitely wouldn't work on Ben Shapiro's podcast. So she'll have to go on Tucker or something like that.
As my mom used to say,
Alex Jones.
As my mom used to say, calladito te ves más bonito, which is you look quite nice when you're silent.
This is true.
Or as my good buddy Rip Rogers once said, never miss an opportunity to shut the fuck up.
There you go.
All right, then let's jump over to this Pedro Pascal story here, because apparently Pedro Pascal is going to be the new Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four movie for the MCU, and absolutely nobody is excited for this. Like, absolutely no one is happening. This, I think, leaked late last week, where everyone was talking about, Pedro Pascal has been confirmed. Then all of a sudden they backed off a little bit and went, well, it's being reported. It hasn't been confirmed just yet. But this is one of the articles from John Trent here. Pedro Pascal tapped to play Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four because Kevin Feige thought the cast was too white. The latest rumor about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that Fantastic Four movie, is that Pedro Pascal was tapped to play Reed Richards, who's supposed to be the smartest person in the whole MCU, but they've done a great job over the last several years in the comics bastardizing this whole concept because they don't like the fact that Reed Richards is a white guy, and why should he be the smartest person in the universe when there's like several black girls who can be the smartest person in the universe, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Including a child.
Several childs, actually. It's just weird. It's just one smart black girl after another, Meanwhile, in real life, it's just
black girl magic.
So...
Yeah, Nick Fury.
The latest rumor comes from Jeff Schneider, who detailed the Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige conducted screen tests for Reed Richards before the strikes were in. Screen tests for Jamie Dornan, Christopher Abbott, but allegedly they did not go well. Marvel Studios then approached Jake Gyllenhaal as well as Adam Driver. Keep in mind, Jake Gyllenhaal has already been in this universe, but I guess with the multiverse, they can just like blow this whole thing up. I don't know, but they wanted.
Amazing.
Like I said, he's already played like a completely another character. So how do you explain having him play, Mysterio and
running
Reed
out
Richards
of
at the same
talent.
time? They ran out of talent several years ago. Now they're just running out of ideas.
Yeah, Jamie Dornan is not talented at all. I mean,
Adam Driver apparently wanted too much money because it's like, I've been in like 6 like Star Wars films. You're gonna have to pay me if you want me to be in 6 Marvel films as well. There's been talks about other people in the Fantastic Four, like Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and then even Moss Berg, what's his name? Bachrock, I guess, as Ben Grimm. So there you go. But yeah, like I said, all these other names have fallen apart. So enter Pedro Pascal, and apparently they were trying to figure out some kind of way to make this cast diverse, because this is Marvel, this is Disney. It has to be a requirement that we have to have some sort of diversity like in here. We can't just have 4 white people like the comics have been for like the last 80 years. So we have to find some kind of way to seek diversity in here, and this is the guy who they want to play the smartest man in the MCU. This guy right here, who
they should get Melissa McCarthy. They should get Melissa McCarthy to play the Thing. I'm just saying.
Well, just for the record, they already had diversity in the last Fantastic Four when Jessica Alba was Sue Storm. It was not commented on.
Yeah, but she was white. She was white passing, as they like to say. So she doesn't count.
I've been told I'm white.
It's like the same people. It's like the same people who want to deny that The Rock is black, because it's like, well, he doesn't show off his black side like he does his Samoan side, so that doesn't count. It's like, well, he's as black as your last president, so cope and sieve. That's all I gotta say. Yeah.
Black
so
side.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get into that.
What do? You
rabbit
flip
hole.
him over? Do you stop sizzling or something? What's that mean? Black side.
Cider, one day we're gonna have to explain to you Black Twitter, and yeah, it's gonna be quite a interesting ride, but we don't got time for
Well,
it.
he's in Maine. I mean, it's not like Maine is full of black people up there.
97% white.
Yeah, the crime
Same
rate
here
is
in my
very
area
low for some reason.
What's the 3%?
The other 3%, everybody else, literally everybody else.
98% white up here.
So I
98% white up here.
I stand out there if I were running around Portland or Augusta.
Oh, certainly. Yep.
Put it this
Anyone
way:
with
if
a
you walked
tan
into our
does.
town, you'd be looked at like, "Who the fuck are you?"
I get that. I go look that way here in El Paso. So there you go.
Yep. And then Doba Fett, just to answer your question real quick, James Gunn not doing woke casting. Yeah, because he knows that this film is literally what's going to hinge his entire future in Warner Brothers, because this is all they got left at this point. If this Superman film flops, then everything they get is going to fall apart.
They got a redhead for.
I ain't supporting James Gunn, man. I don't care who he fucking gets to play in his fucking movie. I ain't supporting no freaking pedal lover.
That's that villain though is the engineer. And that's a lady, right? She's just basically Techno Brainiac. That's it. So,
Techno Brainiac, shake your booty.
I heard Silver Surfer is going to be a female.
Yep, that's the rumor. Yep.
So we got this
I made
show.
A prediction.
This show is going to be
rumor
Reed Richard. Yeah, but they haven't denied it yet. That's the problem. So it's still out there.
Isn't it time for Silver Surfer? Isn't it time that little black girls had a villainess to look up to in Silver Surfer?
You know what? I think we've reached a point where little black girls need less representation on television. How about that? Maybe they have too much representation.
They turned into a bunch of fucking racists.
That's what we need a sign of outside of Disney. Black girls have too much representation. See how that flies over, but so this just seems to be another line of a massive amount of bad ideas from the MCU. So Rick, MCU fanboy, you start off. What do you think about Pedro Pascal being Reed Richards?
Won't it confuse people who go into this movie to wonder why the villain from Wonder Woman 1984 is suddenly Mr. Fantastic?
Nope.
No, they won't. Okay.
Nobody saw that movie.
Not only that, people are goldfish.
I would just say that this is not a major breaking point for me in casting Pedro Pascal, because he's played ostensibly Anglo characters in the past, and Oscar Isaac has played ostensibly Anglo characters in the past, even though he's, I believe, Honduran or Nicaraguan or somewhere from Native America, from Central America. So why I don't understand why he thinks that's diversity. If you try to hire maybe, well, I mean, you already have with Fantastic Four in the past, you already had a black Johnny Storm, and that didn't.
Van Forstick?
Was what?
Van Forstick?
Yeah, the movie that came out that the director got blacklisted from because he buried
Fantastic Babies, as my friend Fidel would always call it, because they all look like they were in their 20s and it didn't make any sense. Point being, they've had diversity before in these films. What makes this any special? If he was hired just because he's Chilean, then maybe that would be an issue, because I as a Hispanic don't have to look at Mr. Fantastic and think, oh, he represents me. The actor who played him before, Ian Griffin, I identified with him because I identified with the character. I didn't necessarily say, oh, he's not the same nationality as me, so obviously I can't relate. That's a curious mindset to me, that you have to have characters who look like me for me to relate for the film. I'm puzzled by that. But I don't object. I don't think he's a bad actor. I've only seen him in Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah,
So but
that's
there's
why
that.
you don't think he's a bad actor, because you only seen him in one movie.
Exactly. I've
It's,
never
it's
saw
like
The Mandalorian.
it's like if you only watch Kate McKinnon and Ghostbusters 2016, you may think that she may be somewhat funny, but then when you watch her in like literally anything else, you realize, oh, that's her in all the movies.
Yeah, that's it. I'm still wondering though if if he's just the first of the diversity characters, are they going to get like they did in the past, a Black Johnny Storm? Are they going to get a woman to play the Thing? Which was I understand another rumor, and now we've got that rumor of that Silver Surfer is going to be a woman. You don't need to change these characters. You don't need to change them. Just if you want to,
you don't need to, but they're going to because they want to.
That's not a good mindset, and I don't think it's ever really worked. I don't think it's ever really worked where they've had a race or gender swap and it's worked. I know Pete's not here, but I'm sure we would talk about the female Doctor Who. I don't think that went over well. So there's no reason for it. This is, I know, hard for people to do. Create your own character. You could make a Fantastic Four film where you introduce a new minority character as a hero or a villain, and I think people will maybe not embrace it, but at least accept it. So you could do that here. But we'll see. We'll see if Ben Grimes becomes Benhamina Grimm. Benhamina. Sorry. Grims, tomato. You're talking to someone who
Brittany Grimm
without
who never. Hey, Ben Grimm. Just remember, Ben Grimm, I think, would have to be played by a Jewish actor because the character is Jewish, and only Jewish actors can play Jewish characters. Just like
nobody's going to be better than Michael Chiklis,
who's Greek. I don't believe he's Jewish, so he's Greek, and
I don't care if he's Greek. He was
incorrect
the best
casting. That's incorrect casting. I don't even remember. Oh, it was Billy Elliot who was in the other one.
So, I have a prediction related to all of this. All right. So they've discussed earlier in the mishmash of letting stuff out about this during the SAG and WGA stuff that what they want to do is they want to make Sue Storm the center of the Fantastic Four. Meaning Reed Richards will still do fancy inventor stuff, but Sue will have a chance to lead and show off that she's intelligent too and not just along for the ride. All right? And now I'd like to introduce you to the replacement for Nora Rad, who is driven by an unwavering commitment to protect her people, and so she volunteered to become the Herald of Galactus. I'll spare you the rest of it. Down toward the end of it says, now torn between the moral implications of her role as Galactus's herald and the cosmic force that spared her people, Nora chooses to side with Sue Storm against the titanic tyranny of Colossus. Now, I guarantee you that's the route they're going to go. They're going to make Nora. They're not going to bother with Nova at all, because for them, if it's not the character that everybody knows and loves, it's not the one we want to fuck with. Now, I promise you, the biggest thing that they're going to focus on for the male characters is Ben Grimm being Jewish. That because of what's happened in Israel, he's going to be like their like religious focused character. He like his whole like thing may be like you'll see him show up to temple at the end as the Thing. You know what I mean? At the credit scene, he'll be at temple as the Thing.
Are we going to get like Muslim caricatures in this Fantastic Four movie? Because now
probably
you just sold me on the movie.
Yeah, freaking Dr. Doom's going to be the leader of Hamas.
No, I don't think they'll go that far, but I think they'll make like they'll come up with like a Ravengers group that have like that Nora has to deal with, that Nora Rad has to deal with on her way to Earth, and they'll be like everything but Hamas, right? Like they might even have a name that rhymes with it or whatever. It's going to be so on the nose, and she's not even going to like bother like blinking. She's just blip gone, like completely like lady lasers everywhere, and then she's on her way to Earth, and that'll be like, you just wiped out all of those people. Like, yes, they were terrible. They were barely even human, you know. And they're like, space pirates.
It's not going to be Victor Von Doom. It's going to be Victor Von Bin Laden.
No, they're not going to do that.
Victoria.
I'm convinced they're going to divorce Doom from the Fantastic Four. For them, Doom is too valuable as a character just to be like a big bad Thanos-y guy to them. Because when you get into it, Doom has jack shit to do with the Fantastic Four. He's just pissed off that Reed told everybody he was smarter than him. That's where their whole thing started. That he went on the news and Reed's like, I'm the smartest man on earth. And Doom's like, the fuck you are. And that was that.
I mean, Dr. Doom erased universes in the comics.
That's why he's more valuable to them as like a Thanos level threat.
Yeah.
I don't even care if this part gets claimed. This is just funny to me. This would be the new Fantastic Four villain right here.
America's most hated terrorist, the Taliban.
There you go.
What the fuck?
Why
did that guy look like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers?
That was some test footage from the new Fantastic Four movie. Yep, the introduction of Galactus. That's how he's going to show up, turban and all. Yep.
So
I don't object to the casting. I don't object to the casting. I'm a little dubious as to the reason that he's being cast, if he's being cast to be the Hispanic representation. Although since he's Chilean, maybe we can have him turn evil and be some sort of like Pinochet type person, and he'll start throwing people off helicopters. And the Silver Surfer, the female Silver Surfer, will come and save them. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas here.
I can put it to you this way: whatever idea you put into this movie is more of a thought than anyone who's.
Yeah, just the fact that the big talk of Fantastic Four has been entirely diversity based just tells me it's going to be a piece of shit movie, which is why I have zero interest to begin with.
But think about it. In the first two Fantastic Four films, so not counting the Roger Corman one, the first two with Ian Griffith and Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba is Hispanic, but it was never commented on. It was not important. She was always just Sue Storm.
We didn't care about it back then.
Exactly. In the Fantastic Babies, when they made Johnny Storm black, again, that was I wouldn't have had an issue with it, but they kept Sue Storm as white. So they're supposed to be brother and sister. They were locked into a point where they had to be like half brothers or adopted brothers or step brothers. They were adopted. Why not just go all in and change both of them into black characters if you really wanted to do that? Again, I'm not someone so super attached to the characters that it had to be done. But again, that was the beginning in Fantastic Babies. That was done for representation because you needed to have a black superhero, which I guess apparently never existed in the history of comic books until then, and that didn't do well. Yeah, and now they're going to change apparently Silver Surfer. There was talk about making Ben Grimm into a woman, which I don't know how that would work.
Jewish woman.
And so what?
A Jewish woman.
A Jewish woman, yeah. Well,
we had to make sure to highlight.
Well, Gal Gadot, she could do that, I guess. And now they're going to try to, they're making, they're making Reed Richards into into a Latino. So there you go. So good for him, I guess.
Lizzo as Ben Grimm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's good.
I actually made that joke a day ago or two.
I'm sorry, I missed it, man. That's good. That's funny.
Lizzo's probably more
it wasn't on a stream.
Like
I was talking with friends at the time. It's like, dude, they should just get fucking Lizzo to be the thing, and that's about it.
And yeah, she could instead of just turning into a big mountain of big rock type, she could just play the flute and defeat the Silver Surfer that way.
Right, it's clobbering time.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, any final thoughts on Pedro Pascal here ruining another movie? Is there anyone
What do you mean another one? What
Science is good,
ruined?
but it could be better.
Like he's a part of a bunch of bullshit, man. Like him and The Last of Us, absolute trash. To be fair, I think he didn't care because the writing was so god fucking awful. I wouldn't blame him, but nonetheless, he was still absolutely garbage.
Hey,
he had to kiss another man in that show. I'm pretty sure that he was like, I am just not getting paid enough to act on top of this. So I'm just gonna hang out with this pan-faced girl. Yeah, he's gay. He's gay in the story. It's him and Ron Swanson making out in the house.
That's a different character. Yeah.
It's not Pedro's character? I thought he was.
No. Pedro's character is the one who's gonna get beaten to death by a tranny in the next season.
Right, Joel. Yeah, I thought they made Joel gay.
I'm sorry, Cider. Not all Chileans look alike. Okay.
It's not that they looked alike. I just heard on the internet that Pedro was playing Joel gay, and I was like, "Well, that's great." Then he gets murdered by a golf club.
No, the one who's playing Ellie is non-binary, which is always just code for ugly white woman. You can't convince me.
Just the flattest face possible. I have no idea. There's no distance between the chin and the forehead. It's just on that girl.
Something is in the water in England where it's like all the women are just like brick face. Like something needs to be investigated there. It's like, like something like the Flint water crisis. Somebody needs to investigate, see what the hell's going on, because something's going on.
Well, you remember all those Doctor Who episodes where aliens fucked with the food? Nobody's ever taken that seriously. Like maybe there are aliens screwing with the food, and that's why everybody looks like, I don't know, a Duplo guy.
Mm-hmm.
You leave the Daleks out of this. They're actually
no, the Duplo, like the Legos, the oversized Lego.
No, I meant Doctor Who villains.
Like, that's right. Remember they were going to take him out of his fancy space wheelchair, Davros. Because they didn't want to code evil into wheelchair users. Because that's what we thought when we saw Davros. People in wheelchairs are evil. That's what we thought when we saw Davros.
Oh yes, they did that because they didn't want to give the idea that people in wheelchairs were villains,
right?
And I'm thinking, I all the times that I watched Davros, I never once thought that he was a villain because it's not even a wheelchair. It's like the bottom half of the Dalek, and it's his life support system. It's not like he was there. But
it honestly looks like they ran out of Dalek top parts, and they were like, "Okay, let's just put a guy in a gimp suit and call him Davros."
It's like, just ruin one of the great villains of Doctor Who because you needed to but I don't know wouldn't disabled people want to have a villain they could look up to in the same way little black girls?
Well, be careful how you say look up, okay?
Have a villain to admire in the same way that a little black girl could now have Silver Surfer as a model for
Look,
her.
they have a Spider-Man that has the Tama poles, okay? That does the Spider-Man web shooters out of the bottom of the poles, okay? Anything's possible now. Anything.
Well, moving on from crippled Spider-Man, let's talk. Yeah, exactly. Orange next. Let's move on to our good buddy Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and what an absolute massive sellout he is. So last week, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson joined Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan Experience, his podcast, and let's rewind the story even further here to get full context of this whole situation. We're going to go back further than the whole Hawaii disaster. About 2 years ago, if you guys remember, there was this massive campaign against Joe Rogan to cancel him, especially during the whole COVID epidemic, because Joe Rogan was going on his podcast. He was saying that, I got COVID and, I just took some ivermectin and I was fine, after a while. And people was like, he's going to get people killed on his podcast. Like, he's telling people to get ivermectin instead of the vaccine. He's literally going to get people killed, right? And that's
horse
the
medicine.
angle. CNN said, he's telling people to take horse dewormer. He's going to get people killed. And that's what they went with for months. Like, they literally tried for months to bring this guy down. Didn't happen because unlike other organizations and other sports franchises, the UFC and all the fighters actually stuck up for Joe Rogan. And they were like, yeah, we're not going to let you cancel Joe Rogan so you can go F yourself, right?
We're making rules.
So then they went with the whole angle of, well, Joe Rogan is a racist because he said the N-word on a podcast several years ago, right? So they tried to go with that whole angle. It's like, well, we can't get him with, he's killing people with the vaccine, so now we can get him with he's just a racist, right? But apparently this worked with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who, keep in mind, was friends with Joe Rogan for many, many years, knows exactly who Joe Rogan is, considered him a friend up until very recently, but because the left-wing pressure in his industry was coming out against Joe Rogan, he decided that he was going to completely throw Joe Rogan under the bus. So this is going back a couple of years ago. This is not a news story, but this is from February 2022. The Rock ditches Joe Rogan after an N-word clip surfaces online. So just going down here, this is some guy, I don't even know who Don Wenzel here is. I can see someone, Portman. He's just like some kind of best-selling left-wing author that I guess people care about or whatever, but he tagged The Rock on a Twitter post saying that your hero to many people is using your platform to defend Joe Rogan, a guy who used and laughed about using the N-word a dozen times. Is a terrible use of your power. Have you actually listened to this man's many racist statements about black people? And The Rock actually responded to this by saying that, "Dear Don Wenzel, thank you so much for this. I hear you as well as everyone here 100%. I was not aware of his N-word use prior to my comments, but now I've become educated to his complete narrative, a learning moment for me." He says, "Brother, great productive weekend, DJ Dwayne Johnson." So he basically threw Joe Rogan under the bus as a racist because one guy on Twitter said that, oh, he's racist. He said bad things about black people. So like I said, just threw his buddy Joe Rogan completely under the bus. This is a guy who literally like a few months before this, they were promoting some project with the UFC, and he was like right there with him. And it's like, and this whole incident like infuriated a lot of people. Like it actually did piss off a lot of people in the MMA community who know Joe Rogan, who actually like went to defend Joe Rogan during this whole thing, because it's like, look, we know Joe is not the guy that the media is trying to paint him out to be. We're going to put our necks on the line to defend this guy because he's our friend. You're the biggest actor in Hollywood right now. You could have had the biggest platform out of anyone to say, hey, look, I know there's a lot of people saying, things about, my buddy Joe. He's a good guy. I know him from years. He's not what people are saying him to be. You could have actually used your platform to defend your friend, and you didn't do it because you cared more about your career in Hollywood than you did about your actual friendship with Joe Rogan. So fast forward a couple of years, now everyone's upset at The Rock because him and Oprah tried to do that Hawaii scam where they were trying to get people to donate $10 million for some BS cause in Hawaii following the disasters, and they were like, you guys are worth nearly like $3 billion like combined. Why don't you put $10 million? So why are you asking us from money? He took a lot of shit for that. He even came back to WWE just randomly on a random episode of SmackDown just so he can get people to cheer for him again and forget about the fact of what happened in Hawaii, right? Well, that didn't happen. People are still pissed off. People still don't like him. So what did he do? He decided to go back on the Joe Rogan podcast. The guy who he literally buried almost 2 years ago went on his podcast to try to repair his image. Not only just repair his image, but repair his image with people in the right-wing sphere, right? Because he knows that a lot of right-wing people listen to Joe Rogan. So it's like, okay, well, let me get back on your guys' good side. So he sat there and, like I said, Chael Sonnen did a perfect breakdown of this. Actually, let me bring this up now because this is all relevant here to what he said. He brought up a perfect analogy here. It's like, when you go back and you watch the full podcast that Rogan and The Rock did, it's clearly two people who there's tension there because there's an elephant in the room that neither one of them wants to address. And the elephant in the room is that when you needed him a couple of years ago to defend you, he threw you under the bus, and now he's back pretending to be your friend again. And instead of actually addressing the whole thing of, hey, remember when you made this comment about me a couple of years ago? They just decided to ignore it for 3 hours, but you can tell that, Rogan was still bothered by it, and Rock did his best, to be boo-boo face and not talked about the whole thing. Well, Chael Sonnen called him out on this, and Chael Sonnen said that, yeah, I remember when we were all trying to defend Joe Rogan from these smears, and you didn't do anything Rogan, you threw the guy under the bus, and we haven't forgotten about that. So he threw Rock under the bus, basically saying that, you're lying about what you said about Joe Rogan, just like you've been lying about taking steroids your entire life. You claim that you've never taken steroids in your entire career. Look, we've seen The Rock from the beginning of his wrestling career all the way back to 1996, what he looked like back then. We saw him when he was in Hollywood, when he first started in Hollywood in the early 2000s, and we see what he looks like now. I hate to break this to you. You don't look like The Rock the way that The Rock does at the age of 51 years old by eating a bunch of pancakes and lifting heavy weights. That's not how it works. So you sitting over here trying to tell people that, oh no, I'm totally all natural. It's like nobody believes that. Chael even took a shot at the fact that, there's been rumors for many, many years that, Rock may be playing for, the other team, or that he may be, on that Dwight Howard stuff. But that's a different conversation for a different day there. But yeah, so I mean, he's completely threw The Rock under the bus as a liar, saying that, you went on this podcast, you made everything awkward, you told a bunch of lies, you told people that you were going to go to Pride in 1997 when the company didn't even exist back then. He just made up a whole bunch of stories to try to rehab his image and stuff like that. The only thing that the media took out of it was the fact that he said that Joe Rogan asked him, do you still support Joe Biden? And he's like, no, my friends in Hollywood, they support the Democrat Party, they don't really support Joe Biden. So now he's trying to back away from supporting Joe Biden, even though he was the one for many, many years, not only endorsed Joe Biden, went on record to say that he cried when Joe Biden won because that's how much he hated Donald Trump. And now all of a sudden he's trying to get back on people's good graces by saying, oh, I'm not really a Joe Biden supporter or anything like that. I just support the Democrat Party. You're such a lying hypocrite. And it's really, really sad how big The Rock has been completely in a stage of downfall here in the last few years, because if you go back 10 years ago when The Rock was on the upswing and he was becoming the highest paid guy in Hollywood and everyone really genuinely liked him, they liked him for the fact that, hey, you go around him, he's a good guy. People really had said nothing bad to say about his personality or anything like that. He was going on these USSO tours talking about the troops and preaching about hard work and putting in your time. And hey, I only had $7 in my name a few years ago and I worked my ass off and look at where I am now. That's the guy he was promoting himself to be years ago. But as he's gotten bigger in Hollywood, he's essentially turned into corporate Hollywood sellout man, which is, I'm going to toe the line for the Democrat Party. I'm going to toe the line for all these left-wing issues, but I'm still gonna smile and pretend like I'm still the people's champion if you smell and all that good stuff. And it's no, people see right through you anymore. This does not work. And he's trying to win people back. I don't think he's realizing that you're at the point now where nobody trusts you. No one trusts you based on the things that you said, based on the things that you've done, taking the things you associated yourself with, because you've proven to this point that your status in Hollywood is more important to you than anything else, including your own friends. And now nobody trusts you. So, Cassie, I'll start this one off of you. What is your thoughts on The Rock being called out for a lying sellout that he possibly is now? So,
I mean, like I said, it's like people were saying about the Joe Rogan podcast with him. I didn't watch it myself, but some people were just saying that, yeah, it was this soulless nothingness between them. And I guess, I didn't understand the whole context behind it because I didn't understand that him and Rogan had beef, but he is a soulless person. He does not care about anyone but his image. And I mean, to an extent, I understand the reality of Hollywood, that people in Hollywood are extremely cutthroat. But at the same time, too, you can't sit here and pretend to be something you're not. People know who you are now, and you can't run away from that. You can't. Nothing is going to repair it. You can't go back to your old friends that you throw under the bus to help you, repair your image. You don't deserve that because you are one of the scum that resides in Hollywood, and you've chosen that lifestyle, and now you have to come to terms with it. Stop. At this point, just own it. Just heel turn officially. You're not going to be a good guy anymore. No one's going to see you as a good guy anymore. You clearly are not that. Everything that was under the rug was clearly exposed. So, time to stop wasting everyone's time, including your own, Rock. I don't really know what else to tell you.
Yep, there you go. Cider, what's your thoughts on The Rock here?
Just eject him into space, man. Just load him up on the trebuchet and right out into the outer atmosphere. Make a nice satellite. I can't figure out a use for this guy. I just can't. He's there's a point in life for men when we need to concede that we're on the backswing. And we need to accept that role. And there's an old Greek proverb that says society prospers when old men plant the seeds of trees they will never enjoy the shade of. All right. Now that's what The Rock should be doing. He's on the backswing. He should be out there doing youth outreach, doing restoration in Maui. He should be out there at the very least doing acting classes for young Hawaiian Maui East Islanders that want to come over here to act or go anywhere in the world and act. And he should be also acting as an ambassador to those countries, to those cultures on behalf of the American culture that he absorbed living here his entire life. But no, he is out here trying to mend fences to continue making money for the cannibal witch cult, pedophile cannibal witch cult in Hollywood. That's what he's doing. He's trying to shore up his image with them rather than planting those seeds of the trees he'll never enjoy the shade of.
Yeah, I don't know if acting is probably like. Here's the thing: this has been this big debate for a while about who's the better wrestler turned actor, and the choices is always The Rock, John Cena, and what's his face, Dave Bautista. Now people pretend for whatever reason that Dave Bautista is like this great actor, even though every time I see him and stuff, it's like he's basically just like stoic big man, just like you've seen him in every single movie. Like he has no real genuine acting range. Like people think that, oh, he's being emotional in these dramas. It's like he looks like a goof. Like stop it. Like
discount Vin Diesel.
Yeah, right. And if you're asking me who I think is better out of all of them, I think The Rock is kind of the same way, where he's basically just The Rock in every film that he's in at this point. I think as far as actual range goes, John Cena has shown me more personality out of his films than either one of those two. So if you're asking me who I think is the best out of the three, I would go with John Cena over everyone else. And that's not to say that John Cena isn't a Hollywood sellout as well, because I mean he is. I mean the dude literally learned Mandarin to get in good graces with Hollywood. So
we will see them match up when The Rock takes on John Cena, who will come back from the dead in the other Fast and Furious film. Yeah. So they'll face off, and we'll be able to they'll be able to quote Shakespeare at each other. See who can do it better. But for this, I'm surprised. I mean, again, I didn't hear the podcast or see it. I'm surprised that Rogan didn't bring up the whole brouhaha over him, kind of throwing him under the bus. Is he that cautious with his guests?
Chael talked about this too, and this is a thing with Rogan. Like Rogan is really a pretty like humble guy. Like he's not a confrontational type like some other people. Like if The Rock came on Chael's show, Chael would absolutely call him out on it, right? But Rogan doesn't have that personality. So even though The Rock is on his show, he could have easily been like, "Hey, where were you a couple years ago? Like when I needed you," and be like a whole big deal about it. He just tried to be like the professional and tried to like move past it. But the tension in the interview was like so palpable, like you knew that there was something going on because they were clearly addressing what the issue between them was.
Well, in the same vein, I'm surprised that The Rock was also so cautious. He could have just said, in the past, I said something, or I maybe was not supportive enough of you, and I want to clear the air. One of them should have been able to bring up what happened. And it's one thing if they wanted to get past it and say, well, we were caught up in things. We forgive each other. But the fact that they didn't, and from all the reports that I'm hearing from you guys, everything was very tense, and there was just no sense of that neither one wanted to have the other, wanted to be in the same room with the other. Then why is Dwayne Johnson even appearing on this show? He could have just easily said no. That I want to move on from that, but he made that decision. It really should have been up to one of them to bring it up and say, I was wrong, or I guess I wasn't supportive enough, what have you. The fact that neither of them did is curious to me, and it, just face up to it, Mr. Johnson. Just face up to it. Or I mean, did Rogan even ask him about the Hawaii the Hawaii fund fiasco?
I don't think he did, and it's one of those like I think he brought it up that they talked about it in the sense of like that he got like a lot of heat for that decision, and I think his whole thing was that he didn't think that people were going to be as angry about it as it turns out being. So it's one of those like acknowledging that there was an issues, but not really like apologizing or stating that he was part of the problem, which is like, yeah, I didn't know I was going to get that much backlash for it, which is like I said, which is why people don't really like The Rock, because it's like exactly what the issues are here and why people have a problem with you, but you don't want to be a man and just be like, hey, look, I made a decision and it backfired and I probably shouldn't have done that, and then you don't say something like that, people could eventually just like move away from it. Like if he had just said, hey, look, man, I should have been there for you, I shouldn't have thrown you on the bus like I did a couple of years ago. No, that was on me. We could have moved past this whole thing and no one would have talked about it again. But the fact that he just goes so far to not even address clear problems here makes people hate him even more. So
yes, you need to be open. You just be open about it. Don't hide it.
I've witnessed so many situations this year alone where people that have had beef have tried to pretend that it never existed, instead of being like squash the beef. That's the only way that you clean this shit up. If you refuse to address it and then move past it, it is always going to come up eventually. It always happens that way, and you have to naturally resolve the scenario. You have to address it like an adult. It's not just a man thing. It's part of being an adult. You have to address it, come to terms with it together, and then agree to move on. If you don't do that, then you're never going to have these natural encounters. There's always going to be thinking about that when you come across each other, and you're never going to truly get past it. So this is just another example of that kind of shit.
My thoughts, when it comes to The Rock and how much he has sold out over the many years, he can never use his catchphrase without me thinking of that little video of the kid in a car seat saying bullshit, bullshit, because it's like, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? Bullshit, bullshit. Yep. That because he's just lost all credibility. It's like, dude, fuck, throw him under the bus. You come back on. He's actually a bigger man because you didn't freaking call your dumb ass out on it. I will give you the tiniest fucking speck of respect for the actually reflecting on your stupidity with the Oprah thing, because he actually did address people with that. It's like, yeah, that was kind of stupid of me and whatnot. And it's like, I mean, slow your roll, know your role, shut your hole, and fucking give a little bit of your own fucking money to Hawaii so maybe they can get their fucking homes back. And also, while you're at it, cut ties with fucking Oprah, because she's into fucking some seriously twisted shit. I mean, you want to go after Joe Rogan for what? Saying the N-word? Why not go after Oprah for having her businesses involved with child sex trafficking? You ever think of that, Rock? No, you never do, because, well, you don't really give a shit about any of the little guys who actually call the shit out on a daily fucking basis. But yeah, he's got a good role here and there, nice little role here and there every now and then. But honestly, he's at the end of his freaking, or as Cider said, he's on the backswing or whatever it is, and he really should be thinking about future generations and get his fucking face out of the goddamn limelight.
Yep. Neozoic asked the question, who would you rank biggest sellout? The Rock, Batista, and John Cena. Now, let me be very clear here. All three of these guys are sellouts in their own way. The Rock's probably the biggest sellout because he has the most power out of the three, and he's doing the most kowtowing and ball licking to the Hollywood machine out of all three of them. Batista, I mean, he pretty much like that was his way in, hanging out with James Gunn and being super liberal on everything, put himself in good graces with Hollywood. So I mean, he's kind of been soft from the jump. And then John Cena, like I said, this is a guy who literally learned Mandarin in order to help his Hollywood prospects. And then when he made the mistake of acknowledging Taiwan as a country, he had to apologize in Mandarin to avoid any kind of heat. So, I mean, if you're looking at it, I mean, all three of these guys are sellouts in their own right. I mean, it's just kind of funny when you're talking about giant pro wrestler guys, like guys who are like 6'3" at least and almost 300 pounds of muscle, and they're all just complete bitches in real life. So, I don't know. It's a toss up. I dislike Batista slightly more than I dislike The Rock at this point. But I mean, like I said, it really just depends on what flavor you want to go with there.
Cena is the biggest sellout, and here's why. He completely dehumanized an entire country of people. Not only that, he did so speaking Mandarin.
Yep.
So that's basically shoving that shit. Or because this guy loves to stand up for the armed services and, oh, you guys are Marines and shit and saluting, dude. Don't you ever fucking salute at a Marine again if you are dehumanizing a whole fucking country of people. I mean, yes, you have The Rock who has done some stupid shit a lot of his life. You have Dave Bautista who's just clinically insane, so he kind of gets a small pass for it, but not really. Oh. And then you have fucking John Cena who freaking just literally dehumanizes an entire freaking country. That is absolutely freaking despicable.
Yeah. I think it really just comes down to which one do you hate more. Like I said, you can hit all three of them for being sellouts. It's just like which one irked you the most. And for me, it's Dave Bautista. And then maybe The Rock.
Cena for me,
then
man.
Cena there. So, yeah.
It's like a Mount Rushmore of don't do that.
Yeah. Dave Bautista is the dude who went as far to call people who were calling out James Gunn and exposing James Gunn a few years ago cyber Nazis. That's a literal term that he created. He said that they were cyber Nazis because they were exposing James Gunn's connections to convicted pedophiles, by the way. Just
that's really going to turn people off from wanting to do that by calling them something like that. That's really going to make them like, oh, I don't want to be called that. I don't want to do that action. Mm-hmm. Cyber, not really. Mm.
Yeah.
That's like straight out of 1980s television, like children's television. Oh, no, it's the cyber Nazis. Quick, we better get to the Battle Max tank.
Those are the cousins of the
local Toys R Us.
All I can think of is like, it's time for the cyber Nazi show. Then you start playing like Head Chala from the old like Japanese DVC show. That sounds like an idea there. Maybe we should
the cyber Nazi show.
Into this, you piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't think Akira Toriyama is going to sign off on that one.
But Chala, Head Chala, something cyber Nazis, Hitler, right?
Did you see that news channel that showcased the cat named Kittler and then had to apologize because of somehow they did not catch that would be not okay to do? Yeah. It was like a local news station. This lady was like, I gotta like say sorry. I didn't mean to like harm anybody or whatever. And then they show it. We like to showcase this cat named Kittler. It's really? It says it's right there. It's like font that's almost the size of her calf. It says Kittler right there. And the cat's got a little spot underneath its nose. And that's why they call it Kittler. And a local news, the guy that put it together for like the television, for like the program, the green screen background, the guy running the teleprompter, the station manager, the set director, the guy running the camera. Nobody was like, hey, no, not this, not any other cat, please. No, not a one of them. That just blows my mind. Nobody.
That's how you know those people are just there to collect a paycheck and they're just emotionally disconnected from all of it.
Now all of a sudden Kill Kittler is going to be a meme and nobody's going to know where it originated from.
So you're welcome. I have that effect. It's like the third one this week now, so it's only Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably not going to be a fan of this episode if you're a Jewish person. I'm just throwing that out there as a disclaimer right now. But moving on to our next topic here. We mentioned a story about women's college basketball earlier in the show about a team that is absolutely horrible. Here's a team that's not horrible, but they're going through a lot of issues right now. It's LSU's women's basketball team. Now, there's a reason I'm bringing this up. If you guys follow the sports world, you probably heard the name Angel Reese before. She's with the LSU women's basketball team. They just won the national championship a few months ago. If you remember, they were playing Iowa in the championship game. They beat Iowa. Angel Reese got popularized because she taunted Caitlin Clark, who is the white female basketball player from Iowa, and she became a megastar based off of that. She got invited to the White House. I think she's made about $1.5 million in NIV money over the last 6 months too. So she's getting endorsement deals all over the place. She's becoming a big star. Well, something's going on at LSU right now, and no one's really talking about exactly what is happening. But the word on the street is that apparently she's been suspended for the team because her grades are so bad. She is academically ineligible to play for the team until she can get her grades up. So here's the situation. She played the first game of the season. They actually lost the first game of the season to Colorado, which was a big surprise upset because everyone thought LSU was a super team that was going to like run away for a second title, but then they lost the first game. Then she played in the second game for about 10 minutes, was benched. There was no explanation to why she was benched. And then for the last 2 games, she hasn't been with the team at all. So people are like, okay, what's going on with Angel Reese? Why is she not playing with her team? Like, what, is she suspended? There's rumors about, maybe her attitude with her players and maybe her coach has led to her suspension. But if you listen to what the other player's mother has to say, apparently her grades are so bad she can't play for the team until she gets her grades up. Yes, this is coming a couple of days ago. She played 13 minutes in their game against Kent State, which was a blowout win. I mean, it's a cupcake, who knows? But head coach Kim Mulkey said that it was a coaching decision to why she didn't play in that game. But now she's been out for 2 straight games now. She didn't play Monday night at LSU game. So everyone's asking, okay, what's going on here? If she's not with the team, has she been suspended? How long is she going to be suspended? The coach is not saying anything about why she's out right now. She's kind of taking the high road of this whole thing. So people are just sitting here asking questions. Apparently there was people upset about I guess either with her mother or like another player team's mother. So there's drama going on behind the scenes here. Reese's mother, Angel Reese, posted on Instagram a few days ago saying that, folks, please do not send long text messages with a bunch of grammatical errors. It gives me a headache. I don't know if you say, I don't know. I'm sorry. I started laughing. I don't know how.
Maybe you're laughing because she complains about grammatical errors and spells headache.
I'm actually laughing because I know what comes next. It said, how do I know if what you said? Oh my God, this is so lyric. What you said, if I can't understand what you're saying. So as a response to this, Kea Brooks, who is the mother of another player on the team, said, stop being petty, fake, and hateful. Take responsibility for you and your daughter's actions. You're just as responsible for the way that you raised her. Don't nobody give a damn about who you are since you came off of another brand. It said, just like God gave you, he'll take it away. Always stay humble. Never forget who made you or where you came from. On top of that, there was another player's mother. Keep in mind, these are mothers on the team that we're talking about here. This is
Mama throwing hands. Dang.
This is just peak LSU. This is why I'm laughing so much at this whole story. But I wanted to go back to the point where one of her another mother here said this. It says, God, where is it? Did somebody remove it? Okay, hold on. There was a point here that somebody says here. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I passed it here. It says, you definitely know about grammatical errors or grammar errors when your daughter got a 2.0 or less. And in fact, when you're writing your smart message, you didn't capitalize, no use any periods. And that was the first part of this whole thing. So literally you have one person's mother throwing another person's mother under the bus, and they're all throwing their daughters under the bus. And there's whole thing going on with LSU infighting behind the scenes right now. So here's the update of this whole story as it stands right now. If this is true that Angel Reese has been suspended because her grades are too low, that means that she has until, I believe, December the 13th when final grades are posted to get her grades up that will allow her to be back on the team. That means she will at least sit out the next 5 games minimum. If she does not get her grades up before the end of the school year, which it says coming up in just a few weeks here, she will not be eligible to return to the team for the rest of the year because the year ends in obviously February, March, and they play in the tournament, but she won't have another semester in time to get her grades up in that time period. So like I said, she literally has 2 weeks to get her grades up, or she's not going to be allowed to come on a team at all. And people are saying that, oh, well, she has money now, she doesn't need LSU. Well, look, if you want to play in the WNBA, it's not a good look to flunk out of college and then be like, hey, I'm eligible to play basketball now. Great. Can you read? Because apparently that may be part of the problem in this scenario here. Yeah, this whole thing is just a hilarious dumpster fire. It just brings a big smile to my face about how you have these super ghetto black women just arguing with each other on social media. This is a team that's supposed to be poised to win a national championship this year, and they can't even cool their drama behind the scenes. And then, of course, the only white girl on this team, what's her name, like Haley Van Lith, I believe her name is. She went from she played on Louisville last year. She transferred after the tournament to go to LSU, basically to get a free ring out of LSU. So she pulled a Kevin Durant, if you guys know who Kevin Durant is. And literally the second she got to LSU, everything is falling apart at the seams here. So I just wanted to bring up your thoughts on this whole story with Angel Reese, because like I said, she is one of the top 3 basketball players, women's college basketball players in the country right now, but apparently she's too dumb to play basketball, quite literally. So yeah, Cassie, I'll start this one off of you. What are your thoughts on the whole LSU drama with Angel Reese here?
So when someone isn't getting good grades, usually it's not because they're dumb. It's typically because, well, their negligence of managing their schooling. Sometimes people just ignore, they just get lazy. That's really what it is more than anything else. Maybe she got a little too fucking Hollywood with her scenario of being part of this basketball team and probably neglected doing the things that she needed to do. But it is kind of funny watching people's mothers slinging words online and can't even spell themselves. So
yeah,
I don't really know what's going on.
Like, this is a common problem too, because like when you read these sentences and you start talking, you think to yourself, "Wait, am I stupid? Am I having? Can I not read?" But then you're reading it as they wrote it. And it's like, "Oh wait, I'm not the idiot here. They're the idiots." Oh man, Orange. What do we think about this whole thing with LSU?
Considering I was a kid that was held back in school, not held back a grade, but held back mentally because special ed and whatnot, I find this deeply disturbing that a college basketball player who is what, number 3, you said? Yeah. I find this disturbing that she has such a low educational level. And honestly, I agree with the decision to suspend her until she gets her fucking grades up. Education is important. I mean, it may not be to this dumbass generation that we have running around with sticks right now, but it actually is more important than you realize, because it's going to be the basis and the foundation of your future. And if you are too fucking dumb to read, and if you are too freaking dumb to write and do all sorts of other stuff, you have no right to take any sort of academic privilege or athletic privilege that requires an educational level above you. I'm sorry, you just don't. I mean, oh, sure, you can get to college on an athletic scholarship, but you need the grades to maintain that scholarship. Otherwise, they can literally pull it from you even after you have started using it.
Yep.
So yeah, folks, she is the perfect fucking example of stay in school. Don't be a fool, stay in school.
Or how about this?
Otherwise,
go to school.
Or fucking go to school, because otherwise you're gonna be, or you could be this big old freaking name, but you're gonna be dumber than I can't say that. You're just gonna be dumb. I'm gonna leave it there. Mm-hmm. I can't say what I wanted to say.
I could throw out some words out there. Window lickers, pedal sniffers, pants on head retards. There's a few colorful names I'll use there. Cider, let me ask you a question. Let's say in a hypothetical scenario, you were a woman on a basketball team, one of the top programs in the nation, and you were making at least $1.7 million a year based on endorsements alone. Don't you think you would have enough money at that point to, I don't know, hire people to do your work for you at the bare minimum? And don't you think that that's something you could possibly do with that kind of money? That was a question.
Cider? He is so fucking baked right now that he can't hear
I don't know what's happening, of course. There's a gal that can't pass her classes, and apparently somebody should pay for her to do that. I don't know. I feel bad that there's people that want to play basketball that aren't allowed to because they're too dumb, I guess. That's unfortunate. Hopefully they can figure out spheres. I don't know.
Well, so hopefully these people hired an accountant.
It must be easier than ever before to cheat. I mean, I remember going to college and these assholes were passing out like cards to get to call them if you need them to write your essay for you.
Yeah, that's why they're handing them out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but seriously, that was the thing. Like, hey, we'll write your essay for you. Here's the general amount of money. They were fucking serious.
We'll buy alcohol for you if you're underage. Whatever you need.
Yeah, pretty much. and like now you can get AI to write your stuff.
Oh yeah.
You could. I'm sure these assholes are still around. You probably could find them by email now instead of by card. But I imagine it's easier than ever before to at least pretend that you're not an idiot.
I mean, we've never experienced this. I honestly can't even remember the last time this has even happened, where a big name college athlete has been academically suspended from the team because their grades are so low. It's like, I just figured that college athletes always had somebody else doing their homework for them and there's no one paid too much attention about it. But the fact that her grades are actually so low that they pulled her from the team, that proves to me either one, she's a complete idiot who just doesn't know what she's doing in college, or two, maybe she thinks that she's just so rich now that she just blows off school altogether. Maybe she just hadn't been showing up to classes at all, which makes her even dumber because one, you're going to lose your spot in the school on the team, you're going to lose your scholarship, and if you think that you're so popular now based on the money that you're making off of sponsorships, well, if you're not playing for a team, then those sponsorship money is also going to go away too, because they would get, let's say if Adidas or Nike or somebody like that is paying you $50,000 to have you be the representative of their company, and you're now a college dropout who thought that she was too good to play basketball for one of the top schools in the nation, that's not going to reflect very well on you. So no matter which way this whole thing shakes out, you're just portraying yourself to be a complete idiot right now. So,
well, I'm rather amazed that that someone could get that low of a GPA that they're actually suspended in the sports. I mean, I don't think many of us would consider a lot of athletes to be great scholars. I don't know. I mean, maybe Rob Gronkowski is a great intellectual and can discuss Proust, after a game. I don't know if that's what he did.
Dolph Lundgren's a doctor.
That is true. But by and large, how bad do you have to be to actually have such a bad grades that you are failing and you're an athlete? I mean, what courses did she fail? I mean, we always make jokes about people who take, what is it, underwater basket weaving or what have you. All of these very insignificant little courses that are used as cover to say that they're getting an education when they're actually there to play sports. But how bad do you have to be? Now, society is probably right in saying that she probably blew off her very limited academic career because she thinks that she's now very wealthy and powerful, even though I really have no idea who this person is. Or she just didn't care, one or the other. But I'm surprised that there's no one. I mean, I'm surprised that people actually said, your grades are so bad, we have to pull you out. Because most of the time people just kind of forget that these athletes who are playing college are actually there supposedly to get an education. They're not there to play sports, which I don't believe is true. I think most of the time they are there.
I think that's completely changed now with the whole the NLV and the whole college athletes can make money, because this is what the whole complaint had been for several years, is that how come the colleges can make all the money and the kids can't make all the money? And now over the last few years, it's like, okay, fine, the kids can make some money now too. So now we're seeing that some of the best athletes are now making a whole lot more money. And now you're going to have an issue where they think that because they're making money that they no longer need to be in school. So they're just going to start blowing off school because they think that they're making money. But as you said, that's not going to work out long term, because you have to be in the school to be a student athlete to get all these endorsements in the first place. If you don't have that representation from the school, then it's like, why do you think they're going to pay you?
You know what she should do is she should go to that school that LeBron James set up and get her education there.
Oh yeah.
So they could, and then she could transfer.
So she can get a GED written in crayon like all the other kids,
and then move on to the WNBA, where she will become, a legend.
Yeah, like, because if there's one place you want to go to make millions upon millions of dollars, it's the WNBA, because they're just raking in the dough. Like, I think you made a great point earlier by accident. Didn't even realize that if you want to avoid situations like this, you should always pull out. And I'll just leave it at that. So
wait a minute.
But
okay, yeah, right. Brand deals. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts on Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch down there in LSU before we move on to our closer?
I feel sorry
off
for
the
that.
LSD.
I feel sorry for that poor student that transferred. I think she just cursed them. I think she carries like some secret curse, and as soon as she came, yes, yeah, she just cursed the team.
Damn it, Haley.
If you're a snow bunny, you can't go to Ghetto University and get over. So I mean, you should know better. That's on her.
It's the white curse.
She's not gonna say it.
Hey, Quincy, watch out.
I mean, it is LSU, so there is some voodoo going on down there. That's all I'm going to say. But, let's move on to our closer, and our closer is
Louisiana. Okay.
Hold on, before we even go on to our closer, you only just now figured out that Louisiana State University.
I thought it was LeBron State University. I thought you were making a joke. And it was LeBron State University because she was so stupid.
Holy shit.
That's why I didn't know what the hell was going on, because it's like LSU, LeBron State University. Oh, I get it. It's below grades, right? Now, Louisiana, this whole time.
Cider, did you ever go to college?
No, I walked through one once, I think.
Okay. I was about to say,
why are we going to sit here and pretend that college makes people smart? What the past decade has proven is that they are fucking stupider the longer they're in these shitholes.
I'll do you one better. We've proven that longer than the last decade. You can go all the way back to the 60s to prove that lesson.
I need to ask Cider a question. Between cookie and wedding cake, how baked are you right now?
Yo.
I think it's like the entire Wonka factory.
That was also a question.
Lemon tart.
Okay, well, let's.
I couldn't tell if that was an L or a C. That's why I was looking at it so hard. I was like, I'm too high to tell if this is an L or a C. Is that common tart or lemon tart?
Maybe that's Angel Reese's problem. She's just so high she literally can't read the test.
I'll tell you, man. Like, I don't drive after like 4 p.m. in the afternoon for a reason, dude. I don't do it.
Oh man! All right, let's talk about Diddy raping people. Apparently, Diddy had a Apparently, Diddy had a rape lawsuit that was settled in 24 hours.
Allegedly, people. Allegedly.
Well, no, I mean he actually did settle the suit. You know, the act is alleged, but the suit actually did happen. So, yeah. So this whole situation has led people to here's an alleged history of all the bad things that Diddy has ever done in his entire life, or things that he's been accused of. So Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka Puffy, aka Diddy, aka Love, aka other things that I can only announce
AKA
based on allegedly.
Now we know why they call him Diddy.
Yeah, well, his former girlfriend, R&B singer Cassie, who you may remember, she had that one song in 2006. I'm pretty sure you remember that in one song that she had back in the day. But she accused him. No, she accused him of rape and abuse in a bombshell lawsuit, and then the suit was settled 24 hours later. So she introduced the suit, and then they settled out of court, which goes to show you just how much power Diddy actually has. She said that I decided to resolve this matter amicably on the terms to have some level of control. Combs' attorney insisted that the settlement was in no way an admission of wrongdoing, but you know, whenever you settle something in 24 hours, that usually means you want something to go away here, because this could have been a story that would have been a very big black eye on Diddy's reputation, even though Diddy has been accused of a whole bunch of other things throughout the course of his life that should smear his reputation over the last few years. I mean, this is a guy who's been alleged for many years being involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur. I know they just arrested some cop out of like Vegas or LA for his mother, but a lot of people have been saying
his murder,
years
not
that
his mother. His mother not implicated here. Not his
mother,
Yeah,
whatever side
you how big you are.
Mother of murder.
Not yet, apparently. Yeah, so he's been implicated in that. He's been implicated in screwing over numerous talents who have been signed to Bad Boy Records over the course of the last few years. Like literally, if you look at Bad Boy Records, I guess you can say artists that they've signed over the last 25 years, the overwhelming majority of them are either dead or in jail, and that is not a lie. Look it up yourself. So there was a suit about Aubrey O'Day, which I guess was a protege of his at one time, and she was alleging emotional abuse at some point of his life. You go back to the whole Jennifer Lopez and Puff Daddy shooting from like I think it was like 99 or 2000, somewhere around that time, where there was some of you guys may not remember this. There was an incident at a nightclub where shots were fired, and at the time there was rumors or allegations that Puffy was the one shooting at people during the nightclub, and I believe it was his artist Shine who took the fall for that whole thing. He ended up spending like almost 10 years in jail based on the whole situation too. But Diddy
dude, yeah, that like, you remember when women used to dress like that outside of Halloween?
Yeah, remember when they were like good looking and not dudes?
That happened, and they literally put a parodied version of it in a freaking PlayStation game, True Crime New York City.
Oh yeah. Like I said, that was a big deal.
Remember that?
I don't like that outfit. That's dumb. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Gross. Don't do that. That's your bathrobe.
Yeah.
Other people who have alleged things against Puffy Combs is that there was an incident at UCLA a number of years ago where his son was, I guess, trying out for either the football team or the basketball team, and he apparently threatened to attack one of the coaches with a kettlebell at one point. So that was like a whole thing. Cassie here is alleging that he allegedly repeatedly raped her, abused her, forced her to have sex with male prostitutes as he watched and masturbated in front of her, calling it a freak off. These are the two. Keep in mind, this was his girlfriend between 2007 and 2018. So this wasn't just like 11 years. Yeah, this wasn't like someone who he had like a couple of one night stands with. They were together for quite a long time. Cassie claims that she's been diagnosed with memory loss, linked to Combs having kept her from opiates and alcohol, leading to substance abuse problems, other things such as that. In 2009, Combs literally pressured Cassie to get breast implants and then demanded the next day that celebrity surgeon remove them because they were too big, despite the warnings that it could be harmful to do so. So yeah, there's so many things here that you can look at here. Here's something from December 1999 when Puffy was 22 years old. It set the tone for some of the violence that were occurring in his first. Some of the years afterwards, where he had a charity basketball game that he was overseeing with Heavy D was turned into a stampede that killed 9 people. That was in 1991. The judge ruled that Combs and Heavy D were responsible for the tragedy, that the legal ruling had no effect on them personally. Combs later settled with one of the injured survivors, so obviously he has a history of settling out of court, just throwing it out there. Like I said, because of his alleged involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur, the retaliation of Tupac Shakur's murder was the targeting and murder of Biggie Smalls that happened a year earlier, so obviously there's been connections to him with the murder of B.I.G. here as well. I mean, the list goes on and on. For so many years, here's another one just real quick before you even go here. The whole incident with Steve Stout, where he apparently went to the then Interscope Records president and hit him with a chair, a microphone, and a champagne bottle. That was another infamous alleged Puffy incident as well here too. So there's been so many rumors about what a crook and what a criminal Diddy is, and of course when this whole thing got I guess released last Thursday, there's like, oh, this is only going to be opening the door for people to be like, well, this happened to me back during this time with Diddy, and I've had instances of this happening with him, and of course now you can see why he wanted to shove this under the rug as quickly as possible here. But Cassie, I'm going to start this off with you because you're New York through and through, so you know Puffy a lot better than a lot of us do here. So what is your take on Puff Daddy's reputation in this?
Yeah, you Puffinato.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were gonna say because my name is Cassie, like the accuser, but
no,
that was too easy. I decided to go for something better.
I mean, look, man, when you gather this reputation throughout your career of being one of the most heinous people, it doesn't surprise me that this may, in fact, have happened. Usually it's one of those things where I'm like, man, we need some proof, but in regards to Cassie's allegations specifically, but like I said, this dude is notorious for being involved in some heinous shit. I'm like, yo, bro, like you created this situation for yourself. Now you got to deal with it. So it is what it is. He settled. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but at the same time, I could see why he would settle. In regards to Cassie, in her career, she only had like one singular album, and from what I've heard about their relationship, extreme control. So the fact that she only had one album and she became pretty big at the time from that album, I do recall. She was the thing to talk about. I mean, the fact that I was named Cassie, people would relate me to her, which was quite annoying because I didn't particularly go out of my way to listen to her music. So they're relating me to someone that I just didn't personally care about as a child. But even so, just thinking about the fact that she did have a relatively short, successful career, did not pursue a second album. I would have to think that there was maybe perhaps a level of control on Diddy's side of things that made that successful career short in itself. So, with all that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if he in fact did do at least some of this. I can't sit here and say probably all of it's true. No, maybe she's bullshitting about some things, but it wouldn't surprise me at least if some of it was true.
Yeah, like I said, going back to that whole story with him, J-Lo, and Shine, like I said, it's funny how the two most famous people in that whole incident pretty much got off scot-free, while Lil Shine that lost 10 years of his life due to that whole shooting. And I think Mace has even talked about this before. Mace was a big protege of Diddy back in like the 90s, like the early 2000s as well. And he said that, you know, your past business practices knowingly has purposely starved your artists and been extremely unfair to the very same artists that helped you obtain that icon award and that iconic label of Bad Boy. So even Mace here is saying that, yeah, Diddy has a history of screwing people over, especially in terms of business. He's clearly has anger issues that he's struggled with throughout many years. And hey, he may or may not be implicated in a handful of murders, allegedly. But I mean, just looking at, you know, his track record, it seems to be that there is a pattern here. And he's one of those guys when you look at, you know, look, he's a very powerful guy. I think he is close to being a billionaire, if not already a billionaire. So he has a lot of money. He has a lot of power. And you can only assume the connections that he's built over the course of, 30 years. So when something like this comes around, he has the right people in charge to, you know, make things go away. And you saw it as an example here. Cider, you have any take on this whole Diddy situation?
I'm not surprised one bit. I know there's people in the chat that don't believe it, that they want to see more evidence, but everything that I've ever understood about Diddy, Puffy, whatever you want to call him, has been straight up just psychopathic behavior, really. Just the kind of stuff that he knows it's wrong and that just kind of gets off on that. And now finding out that he like Frankensteined his girlfriend there, that doesn't surprise me at all. If you listen to how he taught, look, okay, I know rappers tattle about themselves, like their crimes. They also tattle about their values, right?
Yeah.
They would write a song about beating a woman and harming her in the ways that a man harms a woman, that kind of stuff, and then just walk that off. But that's just something you rapped about one day, and you never have a thought about it again. So it doesn't surprise me at all. The guy has a notorious pattern of making songs. He's one of the guys that pioneered the violent rapper attitude thing. The whole singing about murder, destruction, mayhem, being the king of it all, having gangs underneath you, executing this stuff, executing the gangs, that sort of stuff. So when this stuff came up, sure. I imagine if he doesn't manage to end up wrapped up in something before election season, he'll probably be out there with Vote or Die again.
Yep. And that's somehow wasn't even the worst thing Puffy's ever done
right.
in his life there. Orange Chat, what is your thoughts on the notorious I can't even say it. There's allegations of some homoerotic, but I can't say yeah. I was gonna say it's like not on this show.
Well, like I said, and I've always maintained this because I've been Me Too'd. Show me evidence. And obviously this woman has a level of evidence that she has, they scared this guy into settling. I wouldn't put it past him because, like others have said, he has established his fame to such a point where his ego has run wild. And he feels that he can get away with anything, no matter how disgustingly kinky or whatever it is. And if he is in fact guilty of all that stuff, well, there's a special place in hell. And as they said in 2.5 Men, you're going to want the spit. So, yeah. Just, as for Cassie, the singer, not Cassie over here, the singer, I have no idea who she is. I am sorry that she has been through any of the stuff that she has said she has been through. I wish her well. I mean, but you also remember you chose to stay with this person. Once you realize how much of a fucking freak he is, you should have fucking dropped his ass.
Well, here's the thing, and I guess I'll defend Cassie on this one point. Like I said, Cassie is only a person I remember who had like one hit song back in like 2006. That's kind of like her entire run. But correct me if I'm wrong, back in 2006, that would have been like, what, 17 years ago? I believe she was literally like 17, 18 years old when they started dating in the first place. So she was literally like a young teenager who Diddy had pulled out from like obscurity, and right away, like, he had control over her for like the next like 12 years of her life right afterwards, which is another notch on the mark of very creepy things that, you know, Diddy has done over the course of, you know, his entire life here. I did want to bring this up here too real quick because it just reminded me of this moment here. This is back from like the 90s, but I always remember this because Craig Mack was a guy who was part of Diddy's label Bad Boy back in its early days. He had a couple of hit songs too. But there's this interview that he's doing here, and Craig Mack is the one that's sitting down like during the interview, and then Diddy's talking here, and Diddy happened to mention that, oh yeah, I'm working on a new album with Craig Mack, and Craig Mack has this look on his face. It was like, wait, what new album? We ain't working on it. Like, he literally caught him in a live on television, which is hilarious here. So just like watch this clip and then watch like Craig Mack's face.
We also have some B-sides and some other different projects. We have Big's new album that's gonna be dropping in like September, Life After Death.
And I want to congratulate Craig Mack on his Grammy nomination.
No question. Yes, baby, yes.
Cool, that's cool. And I'm sure you got much things in store for my man.
Yeah, definitely. We got a new album we're working on him to
They
drop
all
in
look like they're
January.
fucking baked
Besides that,
more
we about
than
to just
freaking
drop
cider.
our R&B stuff.
The Puff Daddy album.
Did you see the way his face changed when he said, "Yo, yeah, we're looking at a new album"? He was like, "What new album?" It's like, oh, watch it one more time.
Yes, baby, yes.
Cool, that's cool. And I'm sure you got much things in store for my man.
Yeah, definitely. We got a new album we're working on him to drop in January. Besides that, we about to just drop our R&B stuff. So we gonna
He's like, wait, what? He's like, we got a new album. That's news to me.
Damn, that is wild.
Yeah,
that skeptical. I see what you did there. Look, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if I just like randomly said, "Oh yeah, me and Cassie working on a new YouTube channel. It's gonna be called Bits and Gore," and Cassie's gonna be like, "What? Do we agree to this?" It's like exactly. It's dude. Let me just put it very, very bluntly here. Diddy, I think it's very fair to say that he is a scumbag. I think that's pretty fair to say based on his reputation, based on his business dealings. Like I said, so many people who he has linked up with over the course of the last 25, 30 years are either dead or in jail, and there's probably a reason for that. I mean, you look at so many people who have died over the last several years, B.I.G. being like the big one. Craig Mack recently passed away. I'm not blaming like his death on Diddy or anything like that, but you've had other guys who are currently in jail right now. I think G. Depp is in jail for murder, or a murder charge. Loon was another one of Diddy's proteges. He was in jail for a certain point. Then I think he fled to like the Middle East, and he's like a Muslim now or something weird situation like that. Like seriously, if you go back and you look at like the Rolodex of people who have been associated with Diddy over the last 30 years, they're either dead, in jail, or in the case of Aubrey O'Day, she turned her face into like a fish now. So.
Yeah.
All I have to say is do not get in business with Diddy, because all that's going to happen is that he's going to make a lot of money out of you, and then things are going to end up very, very bad for you over the next several years. So,
and then you're going to look like a fish.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. Like, she literally looks. I'll have to pull up a picture of her here because she looks like a foot.
I have no idea who Cassie is or what her big song was. I've never heard of her. Though I agree. I think it was Orange who said it, or maybe Jacob who said she shouldn't have stayed with this person if they were violent and dangerous. But I don't know if Diddy is this combination Harvey Weinstein and R. Kelly that he's portrayed as. Yet, yeah, I'm probably one of those people that says I need to see more of the proof. But I wouldn't put it past Sean B. Puff Daddy, Diddy, Combs, whatever he wants to call himself, that he's involved in nefarious dealings and is abusive towards his proteges. I really don't have much to add, because I really don't. I don't know Puff Daddy outside of Notorious the movie. Oh my gosh!
What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what happens when you butcher your face with plastic surgery before the age of 40
Who
years
is that?
old.
Looks like Christina Aguilera.
Aubrey O'Day. So she was part of one of Diddy's bands called Dandy Kane back in like the mid 2000s. And yeah, like I said, someone went completely overboard on facial
Well, what did
surgery.
she look like before the surgeries? Do you have any of those?
Yeah, I think I do. I think
'Cause the lip thing there is rather alarming.
Yep.
I think here's
Right.
a slight before and after. And it's probably the best video picture that I could find, you guys. This is what she looked like when she was actually with the group, and then this is what she ends up looking like now with years of facial correctness. So she did look somewhat normal back in like 2005 ish. And then
She looks like
you'll see-
or the before picture. She looks like Ryan Reynolds' wife.
yeah, Blake Lively, or yeah, Blake
Blake
Lively.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah,
Break.
Brick. Brick
Yeah,
Lively.
Brick Lively.
Brick, are you still
Brick Lively.
thinking
Look,
about
Brick's
the
Lively.
thing? Are you still thinking about the thing who looks like bricks?
Right.
Yeah.
She
it's not a-
thing.
It's not a good situation, folks. That's all I'm gonna say. Just ladies,
Well,
stop messing with your face. That's all I'm gonna say to you women watching this show. Leave your face alone. It's not worth it.
Wow.
Hey, ladies,
Wow.
Age gracefully.
leave your face alone.
Maybe this
Now,
brace.
in the right pic, she looks like Hillary Clinton's daughter.
The
She looks like a 50-year-old cat mom, even though I think she's only like 30 something.
you know that
Gross.
with that face and those lips, maybe she should be like the queen in that new Aquaman movie. You know, it would be more believable if she were like, the Sea Empress or something like that.
Dave B, I didn't even know it's this Clark. He said she looks like she's trying to eat some wasps. Ouch.
She's having an allergic reaction to something right here. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yep.
Yeah, it's her.
It's a shame. It's a shame that that they don't value themselves enough to say don't have so much work done on you, because it's going to really it's not going to be an improvement.
Yep. As Bill Burr once said, if you get a botched tummy tuck, you can always put a shirt on, but there's no shirt for your face. So leave it alone.
Well, technically you can put a shirt. Well, not a shirt, but you can.
Depends
put
on what you
something on
convert
your
to.
face.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, any final thoughts here on Diddy and his whole, I guess, career of debauchery before we wrap things up here?
I'll say this. Hey, Diddy, leave those chicks alone.
Take that.
I'm just curious. Cider, how's that munchie tasting? Are you munching on something right now?
Have you not learned at this point that it's not a good thing to be asking Cider questions at this point in the show?
Well, I think we should end every segment with asking Cider a question and see if he's capable of answering.
Well, yeah, no, I made chocolate so that way it's safe for me to have, and it's not like weed chocolate. It's just safe. It's just not. It doesn't have all the
Regular
stuff I'm
chocolate?
allergic to in it.
Yeah,
It's like the chocolate that I bought at the church bake sale.
No, this would be the chocolate you find at Whole Foods under the "you're gonna hate this, but your body won't" section.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yep.
Edibles.
It tastes like soap.
Yeah. Stay off the edibles, kids. That's all I'm going to say. But
It's nutritious, but it's not delicious.
Trust me, I can attest. Stay off the edibles.
Stay off edibles regardless. How about that for a message?
There
for
we
the
go.
children-
Okay,
for
sure.
the children out there. But we've reached the end of our show. It's been a great show, and we didn't have to talk about Keke Palmer. So
Even better.
So as a result, I'm gonna give you guys the floor and promote whatever you guys got coming up this week or on the future or whatever. Who cares? Just talk. I guess we'll start with Orange Hat. How you doing?
Well, I have been, or I'm still trying to get to 4,000 watch hours for full monetization. I got Jason Bourne Tuesdays. Next month's theme streams for Tuesday are going to be Christmas movies that are debated as Christmas movies. So stay tuned for those. The ones and twos have and singles have concluded for this month, but next month me and Mara are doing for the ones and twos, we're doing the Gremlins movies, and for singles, we're doing Violent Night and Krampus. So also next Sunday is probably just going to be an impromptu stream, I guess. I'm not doing any franchises yet, but the next one is going to be the Hobbit extended trilogy. So there's that. Plus next Tuesday is Jason Bourne discussion.
Yep. All right. Heading over to our good buddy Cider. What you got coming up? What you working on there, buddy?
The Dank stream. I'm not sure if we're doing a Black Pill tomorrow yet. I haven't caught up with Spencer to find out. So maybe we'll find out after this. Maybe we won't. Who knows? It's late at night. Other than that, I forgot. This is the outro, right?
Yeah. I was trying to think, were you trying to like read the comments that were on the screen and then got lost?
Yeah. Like when my eyes shifted over here, and then it came back. I was, where am I? What am I doing? I was saying something. It was very important, and then gone. Okay. I'll be around.
Oh, okay. Sure. Thanks, Cider. Rick, what do you got coming up?
That's a tough to follow. Well, I have. I'm start watching more of the screeners that I'm getting as we get closer to the awards season, and so I hopefully will be able to plug in more reviews. Also, this is probably the last time I show up on time, at least for a while, because I was off. And I got my haikus, and I know everyone loves my haikus, and I've got more reviews coming up. Hopefully, more award screeners come up as well, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I lead a very quiet life here in El Paso, so I have nothing else to add. All things good and beautiful.
And then here's the lady who thinks that she's secretly playing video games, not realizing we can see the reflection of her screen on her face. So how you doing today, Cassie? What you got working
on? Well, great stream as always. I paid attention for all of it, I promise. But I just uploaded a video discussing the success of the RoboCop video game. If you guys want to check that out. And Thursday, I will not be doing my live stream because, well, I'm not entitled to your time on Thanksgiving. So instead, I'll just stream tomorrow, 8 p.m., where we discuss the Twilight Zone of the gaming space. And I have some entertaining things to discuss there. So if you want to check that out tomorrow, 8 p.m. EST on Cult Class Cage on YouTube.
All right. And then over here, letting you guys know we got coming up on the channel. We're supposed to be doing the Friday Night Movie Club this Friday. I'm not sure if we're going to do it this Friday or if we're going to move it back to Saturday to accommodate people for the weekend or not. So keep in touch on the YouTube side of things, on the Twitter side of things. I'll give you guys an update if we move it. But if not, we are going to do a Friday Night Movie Club. And the movie of the week is Menace to Society. So if you haven't seen Menace to Society, or that's a film you guys want to check out, you can watch that out with us this weekend. It's going to be a great time there. Next Monday, we're going to do an episode of the Bibleans podcast. We actually did a really good episode last night talking about the Calvinist idea of limited atonement and why it's wrong. So go back and check out that episode yesterday with myself and Johnny. Next week, next Monday night, we're going to be answering the question if John Calvin is a heretic. So that's going to be a good question to answer next week here on the show. And then next Tuesday night, same time, we'll be back here for episode 76 of the Bibleans. I'm sorry, the Barroom podcast. Get my shows mixed up there, but
the Barlands.
The Barlands. Like we'll just name it the Barlands Movie Club thing.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll just do all three shows simultaneously, and we'll just like circle you guys in. It'll be one show, 6 hours a week.
I love this. It's perfect.
Yes.
Well, so you gotta play 76 trombones for your 76 show, right?
No.
Okay.
Who else we got? Shout out to everyone who joined us here tonight. Spencer, Neozoic, Vanya, Duke Nukem joined us. DK, Doba Fett, Alex vs. Evil, Tactus Jones. Who else we have here? Josh, obviously. DK, Drax the Clown. Don't Let Him Burn. Kate, obviously, for joining us. Excalibur joining us here on the show here tonight. Who else do we have? I'll make sure I get everyone. JEC joining us on the show here tonight. Energy 85 joining us for tonight's show. Geek Detective Pierce joining us tonight. Dave B on the show with us here, and Blacklist Universe. And I want to make sure that I got everyone. I think I ended up getting everyone here. So if I didn't catch you guys, I thank you very much for joining. Oh yeah, Golf Chick. I just haven't seen you here in several months, but you were here for the show here tonight as well. But for everyone who joined us tonight, thank you very much. Hopefully we will see you guys, if not on Friday night, if not Monday night, if not next week here on the Bible Lens podcast. We're hitting the outro. We're getting out of here. Good night. Goodbye. Adios. See you later. Peace. Stop playing video games during my stream.
It's over. Go home.
Get the hell out! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Okay.
Get out! Get out!
You get the hell out!
Never mind who you thought I was. I'm Rick James, bitch.